Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, Brock Purdy should probably be offended. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you on this Tuesday. I think Brock Purdy has a right to be offended here, Perloff. You know, I've not exactly been a Purdy defender. I was very much on the Christian McCaffrey as the MVP of the team, blah, blah, blah. But there was a list that came out, a well-reported list of NFL executives and powerful people who rank their top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL going into 2024. And Brock Purdy is not on the list. Now, he did get an honorable mention, but that's a little like, flipping the guy a quarter, like, hey, thanks for the effort. I mean, that is in itself, I think, a bit of it's a snub, quite frankly. Him not being a top 10 quarterback after he was just a couple plays from the Super Bowl, he should feel a way about this. However, I think there's something about him not being considered a top 10 quarterback by a lot of these NFL, decision makers that actually is going to be something that rears its ugly head as we continue to move on with the season. Can I tell you what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. You have this list of the top 10 quarterbacks as compiled by ESPN with all these front office people and coaches and stuff like that who give their opinion. And 7 out of the 10 are in the AFC.
Right.
The NFC quarterbacks that made the list are Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, and Jared Goff. Everyone else is an AFC quarterback. So for the San Francisco 49ers and for Brock Purdy specifically, getting to the Super Bowl, which is the only goal now for the 49ers. I don't want to hear anything about the divisional round or about the conference championship or whatever. You are Super Bowl or bust. I can't even think of another team that's as Super Bowl or bust as this 49er team. What this list is essentially telling you, and something I do agree with about this list, is that when Purdy if he gets to the Super Bowl again, he will be matched up against someone who on paper is a better quarterback than him. By virtue of all the quarterback talent in the AFC, this is what's going to happen. Every time he gets to the end of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Mike Tyson's going to be there. He's not going to get an easy walkover. So in the biggest game, when it matters the most, it feels like will be on paper the inferior quarterback.
There are so many problems with that theory. I don't even know where to start. First of all, they polled the entire league, right? We know as a fact that at least 20 executives in the NFL are idiots. So if they had pulled the top 5 executives who are deep in the playoffs every year, they might have had a completely different version of Purdy. I mean, you realize like the Cardinals executive, like all the bad executives are in this list. So the list, obviously, we know what it is. Second of all, Brock Purdy might be on this list, but he's clearly good enough to win a Super Bowl. Third of all, this is classic misjudging a quarterback because of their height. I mean, these guys are GMs. Of course, they look at Justin Herbert's 6'5" and Brock Purdy's 5'11". Who are you going to put higher on the list? But the real flaw of this, you're always doing this because you're trying to defend your guy, Josh Allen. Like, this is just, that's not a reality.
This has nothing to do with Josh Allen.
The AFC is not going, if it wasn't for the Chiefs, the NFC would be just right there with, like, there's no way, like, the AFC gets all the hype, but there's no way that the AFC, this ring of quarterbacks in the AFC is going to dominate the NFC. The NFC is clearly already in 1 year caught up.
Okay.
The NFC had Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, like, they have a bunch of young quarterbacks too. That imbalance is way overrated.
I'm not talking about on aggregate. I'm not talking about regular season. I'm talking about for the 49ers, there is nothing but Super Bowl left.
Yeah.
I don't care about the regular
season.
I'm saying,
I don't care about but you said you were implying that it's easier to get out of the NFC because there are only 3 elite quarterbacks.
No. What I'm saying is the 49ers have to get to the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
This is the only standard that they're being judged on.
Right.
And if they do get back, or when they do get back, because they are a great team, they will always be facing an AFC team. We're not changing up the format of how we decide the Super Bowl.
Right.
So Purdy will always be facing somebody who, at least on paper, is a better quarterback than him. Better traits, better everything. And I'm not talking about height, and I'm certainly not talking about Josh Allen. I'm talking about this quote that came from this list. from an NFC executive, you're not going to win a game because of him, meaning Purdy in most cases. He's a really good system quarterback. Boom. That's it. And so, again, if you get to the Super Bowl, who are you facing? Mahomes, Burrow, C.J. Stroud, whoever you want to put on there who you think's coming out of the AFC will be a better quarterback on paper than Brock Purdy. That's what I'm saying. And so it's not this hypothetical, theoretical, it's all about his height. No, it's about how are you going to actually get over the hump and win this damn Super Bowl?
Brock Purdy could beat any of those guys, definitely. And he'd be favored. He'd be favored against, he didn't, but this is a predictive list. It's like we all know who won the last Super Bowl. There's no insight into that. But that doesn't mean Brock Purdy ain't going to win the next one. Like, you think like Brock Purdy going to get scared of C.J. Stroud or even Joe Burrow? Like, San Francisco would be definitely favored against all those teams. I think they'd be super confident. Kansas City's a problem. I admit Mahomes and Kansas City's a problem. There's nobody else who scares Brock Purdy on that list.
Listen, it always is going to come down to when you're talking about the highest level, unless your Super Bowl happens to be a blowout or something like that. If we get again what we got last year, which is a game that's low scoring, that is coming down to the wire, where every little mistake and every success is magnified, you have to ask yourself, and I think this is the big question for 49er fans, is Brock Purdy going to be the guy who elevates you? Because again, and these moments when you're talking about Super Bowl on the line, the system's only going to get you so far. At that point, it has to be about doing something spectacular. And that's where you have to get to with Purdy. He's got to be the guy who does something spectacular when he's going up against an AFC quarterback who is, again, going to have better traits than him or whatever, is going to on paper be the better quarterback, or like Mahomes in real life be the better quarterback. So not just traits, not just hypothetical.
I don't understand, like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, his offensive line had injuries and there was nothing he was going to do. Shaq Barrett just like ate him for lunch. I don't understand, like Patrick Mahomes couldn't do anything in that situation.
But that wasn't the deal with Purdy this year. His offensive line was fine.
His offensive line was good, but
his skill position players were all out there. He did nothing wrong in the Super Bowl,
but his offensive lineman missed Chris Jones. And if you watch the play, like basically says, hi, Chris Jones starts running after him. There's no way. The receiver can't even get into his route. And he throws a fade that is impossible to do. Like, there's zero that any Patrick Mahomes combined with the other 10 quarterbacks on that list could not have made that play. So Purdy's clearly, they lost 25-22 in overtime in the Super Bowl. He's clearly good enough to get there. He was at the brink. There was 2 plays, both of which were not on him at all. He's definitely good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Here's the thing. It's never going to be perfect. And you bring up the Super Bowl that Mahomes lost because his offensive line was all banged up and Tampa Bay and Tom Brady were better that day. But how about the one he won against your Philadelphia Eagles on one leg? At some point, you can give me the one he lost. I'll give you the one he won when he was doing something superhuman. It's never going to be perfect. And at some point, the quarterback actually has to make up for that. That's it. That's the deal.
So what did Mahomes even do in the Super Bowl? They didn't really have a great offensive game.
What are you talking about?
Like the Chiefs. Yeah, like the Chiefs, they won the AFC title game 17-10, and then they won 25-22 in overtime. They scored 19 points in the regular game. It wasn't like, I don't even think, like, what's the story of the Chiefs last year? Definitely not Mahomes.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the Super Bowl, because that's what we're judging these guys on. I ask you this question. Take yourself back to Las Vegas last year. The game's tied 16-16, or I'm sorry. San Francisco had taken the lead 19-16. Yeah. And they gave the ball back to Mahomes with 1:20 left or whatever it was. We all know what was happening.
Yeah, but Purdy would have also drove him down in that situation. Purdy definitely would have gotten a field goal.
I don't know.
Definitely.
Okay, he got the ball in overtime first, and they didn't score.
Yeah, they got down to like the 8-yard line or something, and it was real close. It was a bang thing that could have gone either way. Same with Jalen Hurts. You can't say that Jalen Hurts didn't play well enough to win that Super Bowl. He was awesome 2 years ago. He outplayed Mahomes.
I'm telling you, these moments, that's what it comes down to. I'm not talking about a team that's going from worst to first. I'm not talking about a team that's just happy to be here. I'm talking about a San Francisco team that is right here on the brink, on the precipice. And we're talking about this top 10 list that Brock Purdy got left off of from NFL executives and whatever. He was honorable mention. He's always going to, when you get to the end, when you get to that game in that Super Bowl, he's always going to be the lesser quarterback on paper. And that's just, I would say, like, the fact of it. It doesn't mean he won't ever win. I'm just telling you what's happening and what this list is outlining.
Well, first of all, I don't totally agree with that. But second of all, if that's like your logic, then why do we even play a game? Mahomes is going to win the next 7 Super Bowls. Because he's always going to be. He's always going to be the superior player. Well, not. That's the thing. Like, I kind of don't think this can happen. I mean, how many bounces are the Chiefs going to get? These are two very narrow Super Bowl wins, and no one's ever won 3 in a row. It'd be shocking because the league is so close now. Honestly, there is a. I think someone's going to beat Mahomes, either in the AFC or the NFC. And whatever you say about this list, Brock Purdy's obviously good enough to win a Super Bowl. Don't you? You don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl?
It's not that. It's not
well,
that.
Well, answer that question.
He can definitely win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course.
But here's what I'm saying. This is what they're going to continually run into. And he hasn't won one yet. And I know he's super young in his career, and so we have a long time here. But things in the NFL, you're never exactly sure how it's going to go. And seasons that start out really promising have a way of going off the rails. What I'm saying is that this list, while Brock Purdy may feel like he is snubbed from this list, the reality that this list shows is that the AFC still has tons of great quarterbacks. And ultimately, he will be facing one in the Super Bowl that's going to be quote-unquote better than him, whether it's Mahomes or whether it's Burrow. I'm not even bringing Josh Allen into this. Josh Allen has not had the success that Brock Purdy has had, so he doesn't get to be in this list.
Right, like you wouldn't be scared. If you had Brock Purdy on one side and Josh Allen on the other, like the Niners aren't going to be like, oh,
but
man, we're dead.
That's what we're talking about. I'm talking about Mahomes, Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Lamar Jackson. The AFC is not just Josh Allen. You bring him up because I'm a Bills fan.
He's definitely not. Wait. Who are the other? He's definitely not afraid of Lamar Jackson because Lamar has not come up big in the playoffs. So that's another one. And what's the other one?
On paper.
C.J. Stroud, like there's no way. Like, yeah, but this is, first of all, on paper, like I said, this is a flawed list because they're going on traits that are the wrong traits probably. But the Niners are definitely not afraid of C.J. Stroud. I mean, that's an unknown. So we're going to talk about him. Lamar Jackson, do you think the Niners going against the Ravens to be like, oh, we're so scared that Brock Purdy's inferior to Lamar Jackson? Lamar hasn't won anything.
I'm just saying. Neither is Purdy. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Purdy's been a much better playoff quarterback, right?
Listen, Lamar was really bad in the AFC Championship game. You and I will disagree. You actually think he played well. I didn't think he played well in the AFC Championship game. I think they blew it. But anyway, that's getting off the track.
Right,
The conversation is Purdy right now. And do you agree that this is going to be an issue for the 49ers? I do think it will be an issue.
Who is I don't understand. You said Mahomes and Burrow, but after that, I can't imagine who you're really scared of having Purdy against. And even Mahomes, if I'm the Chiefs and I'm looking at who am I playing the Super Bowl next year, I want no part of San Francisco, right? Because that offense is if they stay healthy on the field, that's a brutal team to face. If they keep everything going right now, it's like, oh my God, they have so many weapons. And Purdy's really good, and he didn't get nervous in the Super Bowl. He played fine. Like, that's the thing. Like, he could have choked in the Super Bowl. He's a 23-year-old kid.
What are we doing? I mean, you're talking about, thankfully, he didn't choke in the Super Bowl. I mean, this is a guy who has the hopes and dreams of an entire fan base now on his right arm. You can't just be good. You have to be amazing.
That's absolutely. I read that list.
At the Super Bowl, you have to be amazing.
It's so funny. I read this list and where Purdy was. I'm like, oh, man, there's probably 13 quarterbacks who could win the Super Bowl next year. This is definitely not like you have to have the best quarterback to win. The honorable mentions were Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Like, I know Jalen Hurts is good enough to win the Super Bowl because I saw it.
Yeah.
I know Brock Purdy's right there. Like, man, a lot of these guys could win. I don't think that this is like you describe it. The better on paper quarterback gives you a big advantage. I don't know. I'm not sure it's as big advantage as you think because if that was the case, Mahomes would win every Super Bowl 31-15.
I got to be honest. He's kind of winning every Super Bowl. Whatever the final score is, Brady had a lot of close Super Bowls too, and we don't talk about that when we talk about him being the greatest of all time.
But the margin is so close. The way Mahomes played and Hurts played was so close. The way actually Mahomes and Purdy played, so close.
Then what was the difference? I mean,
the difference was honestly late game coaching.
It was quarterback play. It was quarterback.
Really?
Yes.
You don't think it was Shanahan's late game coaching against the Chiefs?
I think that played into it. And I think Mahomes was the superior quarterback, and he was leading the superior drive.
That's so funny. I didn't read that game. And what was the difference in the Eagles-Chiefs game? You think it was quarterback?
Eagles-Chiefs, ultimately it was, Mahomes was on one leg and still beat you guys. And that was a shootout, and he was hurt. That is unreal. And if he's any less than what he is that day, Mahomes, he had to be totally brilliant. If he's any less than that, your Eagles win.
Yeah, I felt
and also James Bradbury pass interference.
I think the problem was, that game, yes, Mahomes was amazing, of course, but he didn't outplay Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts,
he was half the player. That's the thing. That's Jalen Hurts playing as good as he can play, and that's Patrick Mahomes with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, the problem.
That's amazing for Mahomes. Like, you almost have to grade it on a curve.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble that ball. It's a different game altogether. I don't know. I didn't see that as like one quarterback for the other. Honestly, there was a lot of problems with the Eagles' defense that game.
Quarterback mistakes, though. Fumble the ball.
They couldn't rush the passer for a certain reason.
Okay, let's stick on Purdy. Let's not get sidetracked.
So what's the call to action
I think
here?
the question is, do you believe that Purdy can win the Super Bowl? Because he's always going to be at the disadvantage when it comes to meeting an AFC team in the big game, and the AFC team is going to have the better QB.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's the reality. I had no lies detected. I'm not lying to you.
How many teams would they realistically be underdogs against the Super Bowl? Maybe one.
But that is a whole bunch of things go into that.
They're going to be favored against every AFC team except one.
It was a
15. They're definitely favored. There's not a single. I can't see a team that's going to be favored over the Niners. So they're going to go in the favorites with Brock Purdy.
It was the biggest. I cannot explain Vegas. Sometimes I don't understand what they're doing. I didn't understand why the Chiefs were the underdog in the Super Bowl, and everyone jumped on the Chiefs, including me, and we all made money off of it. So,
I don't know. That was a really close game. I think you're underestimating what's going to happen moving forward. You think the Chiefs are going to just win forever?
Here's the thing. Close games, of course. I'm talking about winning it. San Francisco fans don't want to hear about close anymore. They don't. That's almost like trolling them. They've got to get this thing and get it.
Yeah,
complete the mission. I mean, this is it. That's all that's left. They've done everything else.
I definitely think. Listen, I went through this. Kyle Shannon's going to win a Super Bowl. It might. I don't know if it's going to be this year. It's they like if they can get through healthy, they will beat most of these teams in the AFC. They definitely.
They were healthy last year. They lost Dre Greenlaw in the game. Okay, but it's never going to be perfect though. They had a healthy quarterback, healthy skill position players, healthy offensive line. I don't know what else you want to happen. It's not. It's never going to be like absolutely perfect when it comes to health.
They had, I think, 3 injuries. I think there was an O-lineman who went down. That was a big problem. That's why they missed the block I mentioned with Chris Jones, because they had a backup in who just went the exact wrong direction. Chris Jones ran in straight at, and I think Debo got hurt. I think we saw that in the receiver thing. And everybody got banged up, but Dre Greenlaw. And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting which lineman. One of the linemen went out. That was a huge deal. I would say if they're healthy, they're favored against all these teams. So if you're favored, you can win the Super Bowl. Honestly, the Chiefs are the only team that is probably going to be a real challenge. The Niners are going to steamroll somebody at some point. It's going to happen. They're that good.
855-212-4227. Okay, so there you go. We're talking about Brock Purdy. Did not make this list of top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think there's the reality of this is that, again, when it's Super Bowl time and winning time, he's always going to be facing an AFC quarterback who on paper is a lot better than him, or just better traits and all of that stuff. He is a system guy. So are you ever going to be able to elevate in those biggest moments? I'm not talking about just having a great regular season and all that.
By the way, like
Dak Prescott's on the list and not him.
Yeah, the on-paper thing is obviously silly because Brock Purdy's not a worse quarterback than all these guys. Yes, there's some traits that he has, but Justin Herbert is really, in what way is he better than Brock Purdy? Like, yeah, he can throw that 30-yard out, but like that doesn't mean anything, right? Like the real important things for a quarterback are decision-making, mobility. Like there's a lot of things that Brock Purdy can do that a lot of those quarterbacks ahead of him make. He makes better decisions than a lot of those guys ahead of him. Don't you think? Do you honestly think that Justin Herbert is a better decision maker than Brock Purdy? I haven't
seen Justin Herbert in with actually a competent enough a team, big enough game, big enough moment yet. And I think that he has a lot more to do with he's a lot more good than bad. Yeah,
and also even like you got Josh Allen, who's number 3 on the list. He has some untimely interceptions.
And the quote that was about Josh Allen is that he's overrated. So listen, I'm just telling you. We're talking about Brock Purdy. We know we got a lot of fans in the Bay Area listening here. 855-212-4227. What do you think about Purdy? Top 10 quarterback? Agree? Disagree? Let us know. We are also live on YouTube. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. And we've got a packed show for you. We've got an update on how it was put to me, Perloff, is a lot of smoke. Where there's a lot of smoke, a lot of fire. That's how it was put to me this morning about one NFL wide receiver. So we'll get to that in a minute. It's Maggie Perloff on Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
So, Maggie, you tease a player that might be on the move. I think it's a very unusual story because usually there aren't a lot of August, September trades unless a guy will not report to camp at all. But there is one that seems to be in the ether.
Yeah, so this is our pal Boomer Esiason, who works down the hall, former league MVP, of course, and he had a report yesterday that was sort of, hey, when there's smoke, there's fire about all this Davante Adams stuff, and kind of underscoring the Jets' interest here, maybe beyond just Aaron Rodgers. Saying at a golf tournament, I'd like to play with my former teammate again. And that there's just, how Boomer put it, just feels like there's a little too much smoke for there not to be fire. And there's also, I think, and this is me editorializing, a lot of desperation here on the Jets side of this because Rodgers put it out there publicly. If they don't win this year, everybody's getting fired. So with that in mind, the Raiders could end up being in a good spot here if they do want to move on from Davante Adams, or if they're okay with a rebuild or whatever. They could end up getting an extra first-round pick, maybe 2 seconds. I mean, I don't think the Raiders are going anywhere, and so they need a quarterback, obviously. This could really end up, I don't know, being really good for them, because wouldn't you bet on the Jets' volatility? I would, if I'm the Raiders, I would gladly give you Davante for a couple picks and then maybe hope and pray that the Jets' season goes off the rails and those picks come, are pretty high.
Yeah, see, I don't think, because of that reason, I don't think the Jets would give up a first-round pick for Davante Adams under any circumstance. That'd be kind of a malpractice, right? Because say that Rodgers got hurt again, coming off an Achilles, 40 years old, and they win 7 games, they're not going to give up the number 10 pick for a 32-year-old wide receiver that they have to pay. Okay, that'd be nuts.
Well, 2 things. One, you may underestimate how desperate the Jets are and how much influence Aaron Rodgers has. They've already, they basically signed a lot of his friends from Green Bay, and hired the offensive coordinator that he likes. I think he has a lot of pull in the building, so I wouldn't discount that. And I think that this is a team or a front office, where if you think you're getting fired anyway, if the season goes off the rails, what do you care about future second-round picks or first-round picks? You're not going to be around to make a decision on any of that stuff.
Well, true, but the owner can't let them trade away, because if Rodgers gets hurt again, then that could be the quarterback pick. You can't give that away for a guy who's not really going to, there's not much left of Davante Adams. You saw the documentary receiver, that guy's being glued together, and he's just old, so it'd be... Yes, you're right. Desperation could cause a bad move here, but that would be just nuts. Because Davante Adams 3 years ago went for only a 20s pick. Tyreek Hill went for the 23rd pick, and that was in their prime.
Right.
To do a first-round pick that could be a top 10 pick, that would be one of the wildest trades I've ever seen. The question, I think, if you're the Raiders, would you do it for a second? And I don't know if you're the Raiders. Also, too, if the Jets want him, then obviously, hey, we're open for business. Maybe a team that's more guaranteed to be in the second half of the first round be a contender, right? Baltimore or somebody might say, the 25th pick. Because I think Baltimore could trade for Davante Adams because they're not terrified that's going to be a top 5 pick. Where the Jets would be ugh.
I think there is, think about the all-in teams. And I think the Jets just really are the top of the list there, or the tip of the iceberg, however you want to say it. And so... there's no more all-in team than them. And so I think they would just say cost of doing business to maybe put us over the top.
Well, Jerry was all in.
That was a joke, it turned out. That wasn't real.
Well, he said he was all in.
Yeah, that's right. No, the Jets don't say they're all in. I think it's presumed.
How about the Bills? Do they have any cap space to do this? By the way, where the Jets have the cap space, I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a little gymnastics they can do here with his dead cap hit going down. I don't want to bore the audience with it, but they could make it work.
I'm looking at contenders. Yeah, the Chiefs don't want to pay receiver. It's interesting, the all-in teams. Maybe they wait for an injury too. Is
also,
that
the
possible?
Raiders cannot trade with the Chiefs, right? The
division. Yeah. Nowadays people do that. The NFC East teams trade with each other all the time. Yeah, you're right. But if the Raiders, if they get rid of Davante Adams, that's full rebuild, right? I would do it. If the Jets call with a first-round pick, I do not think that's going to happen. It's such a radical move. Imagine giving the number 3 pick for a player who's probably not going to be on your roster in 2 years. That's, I'm saying
Do you think the Jets are a smart organization? Do they strike you as a smart organization?
I think Joe Douglas is a smart GM. Yeah, I think he knows what he's doing for sure. He did. Yeah, his draft picks are really good. Like, I remember he came from Baltimore and Philly. Like, he was under Ozzie Newsome forever, for 2 decades. Yeah, I don't think he's the dumbest GM by far.
I don't think he's the dumbest GM, but I don't know if he's the one who's ultimately making the decision. You have a star bleeper owner over there who...
Yeah, but the owner, I mean, like, that's the one guy. If he trades his first-round pick, knowing that he's about to fire the GM and the coach, that's crazy.
This is not a well-thought-out organization here. 855-212-4227. I think this is going to end up really working well for the Raiders if they decide to part with Davante Adams. Peter Schwartz is in with us for updates.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at progressive.com. This just broke a couple seconds ago. After England lost to Spain 2-1 in the Euro Championship the other day, England has let go of, or Gareth Southgate, the head coach, has left his role as manager of the English national team. So you knew there would be consequences if England lost that game on Sunday, which is what happened.
Wait, why? I didn't know.
Can the U.S. hire him for the World Cup?
But wait, England was a big underdog. Why would that get him fired?
Oh, because there's pressure on the English soccer coach to win, so he got fired.
So
listen,
when's the last time they won? They never win.
I know, but there's still pressure to win, so he's gone.
Honestly, this could be good for the U.S., don't we? We need a coach, our national team.
He kind of, I don't know, he kind of looks like Michael Phelps a little bit, the head coach of England.
Michael Phelps?
Yeah.
I see something else, but yeah.
What else do you see?
I gotta think. Maybe Ryan Gosling or something?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah, and I knew something struck me about it.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get to baseball. Dodgers center fielder Teoscar Hernandez won the home run derby last night in Arlington.
People maybe underestimate myself, and you can see it at the end when Will was hitting all those homers. Everybody was cheering for him, but I'm here, and I'm as talented as all those guys over there. They might be younger, but same talent.
Hernandez beat Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. in the final 14-13 as Witt's last hit came just a little bit short going out.
That was, first of all, the home run derby that would not end.
Oh,
it was a week long. I don't know.
Still going on, I think.
It was like brutal, but then the last 45 seconds were like high drama where Bobby Witt is trying to, tie him, and he's got like one bonus ball left or whatever, and he comes up literally like 5 feet short.
Yeah, there's got to be a format they can figure out to speed this up. I mean, you look at the NBA's got the 3-point shootout and all that, and it seems to move at a much faster pace.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go off the NBA. Their All-Star weekend.
Well, the
stinks.
hockey one too. It moves. I mean, they get from one guy right to the next. It just seems like they try to figure out how to do this, and they keep making it worse.
Why'd they cut out a minute? Just like simple. Because it does feel like the batters are all exhausted by that. Actually, I was happy my guy Alec Boehm on the Phillies was out. I'm like, this dude doesn't need to take 150 more swings.
How about just pick the best 4 home run hitters in baseball and do that?
And just have one round, you're saying?
Just have have 2, one versus 4, 2 versus 3. Take the 4 best home run hitters in baseball at the time of the All-Star game.
Peter, you know why that can't
I
happen.
understand
There's ads to sell. There's hours to fill
also,
on ESPN.
They didn't pick like top 20 home run hitters. Like Alec Boehm is not even in the top 15 of it. Yeah, those guys are not the biggest home run hitters at all.
There's other things they can do, to fill time. I mean, they could have they have that celebrity softball game. Why don't they just play it on Monday night and put it on live? Have an old timer softball game.
I'm with you. They're not thinking outside the box there. They are just making this thing excruciating long. I was likening last night. I'm like, this is like when you're reading a bad book, but you just have to stick around to the end to find out who the killer is. And it's like, I almost just want to flip ahead to the end. Just tell me who did it, you know? And then it turns out there was this twist at the end, and it was actually kind of exciting.
I went to it in 2013 at Citi Field. I couldn't wait to leave. It was boring. So Hernandez beat Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. in the final. He became the first Dodger to win home run derby. Tonight's the All-Star game, National League against the American League. Pirates rookie Paul Skeens gets the start for the National League.
That was a big focus of the offseason, and, obviously being here now, I think that's just a product of doing it one day at a time and having good coaches and good people around me. And but yeah, I didn't necessarily think I would be here.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Major League Baseball did. At least they have some juice about him getting the start tonight.
Yeah, so watch the first couple minutes of that.
That's it. Corbin Burns of the Orioles will start for the American League first pitch, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The United States men's basketball team beat Australia 98-92 in an exhibition game. Anthony Davis had 17 points 14 rebounds. Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard not selected for Team USA because of his knee injury. Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank was not happy about it.
I was, quite frankly, very disappointed with the decision. Kawhi wanted to play. We wanted him to play. I was there the first 2 practices. He looked very good. Participated, was a full participant in everything that they did. I wasn't there for the 3rd practice where ultimately that was the point where they decided to go in a different direction.
Explain this to me. I don't understand this. Why Lawrence Frank is just outright lying? Like, is this just to pacify Kawhi Leonard? Like, I don't understand. What front office or GM member in their right mind would want their players playing for the Olympic team?
Coming off a knee injury.
He missed playoff games because of it. You just gave him $100 million. Like this, I don't get the lie.
And he doubled down.
I expressed to them, I really wish that they would have given Kawhi more time. We have the benefit of having been around Kawhi for 5 years to see his body and see where he's at. He looked good to me. I know all the sacrifices he made in order to make this commitment to the Olympics. So it was very disappointing.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, if it was a Knicks player coming off of a knee surgery, I don't want him anywhere near the Olympics.
Perloff, you were worried about Team USA watching them yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they look old and slow already. So to have an injured Kawhi, I mean, would be amazing. I'm rooting against him. That's so unpatriotic. I feel terrible, but
you've made your stance. You're Team Canada.
It'd be the best content ever to see LeBron lose this thing. He is so methodical and slow out there right now.
I didn't watch the game. I only saw the highlights. How bad was it? Because people are talking about how it looked really, really like Joel Embiid didn't look good.
Embiid is not designed for like an all-star game. So LeBron was screwing around. He was playing like he was the Harlem Globetrotters game. He was just trying to make fancy passes. But he's definitely like, there's younger, faster guys coming up and down the court. Like, here's my question. If you're the USA team, do you play the old guys out of duty because they've earned it? Or like, are you actually going to play 40-year-old LeBron, injured Kevin Durant, 36-year-old Curry, who's still pretty good, injured Joel Embiid? Like, or are you going to play? There was one player like who said Jason Tatum was the best player on the court by 10 miles. Like, you got to put Tatum, Anthony Edwards. Like, you got to go Booker, but you got to go the young guys, Or because if you play those old guys, you're vulnerable.
I think they're the ones calling the shots. Like,
I know it's LeBron's
kind of runs this team just like he runs every team that he's on.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like, that they would be vulnerable because they want to get everybody minutes too. That's a whole thing. Like, if you're how do you like put the best team out there when you have to honor these players? They're even talking about honoring Kawhi, who's on half a leg. Like, what? I don't know how you're going to do this. Like, are you going to play Kevin Durant for 20 minutes, even though he's injured?
This is why you have to. The coach actually matters here because Steve Kerr should have the clout and the gravitas to say, I'm playing this person, I'm not playing this person. That's why it has to be Coach K, Greg Popovich, and Kerr. You can't just throw any person out there because they'll get steamrolled by the players.
That's a great point. But hypothetically, what if LeBron really is not effective? Would you pull him in key moments for Jason Tatum? That's hard to do.
I think it will be more memorable if they lose the gold than it will be that LeBron wasn't maybe on the court in crunch time against, Serbia.
Yeah. So, but you have to have a lot of gravitas to pull LeBron. I think it'll all work out. I mean, they obviously are a very talented team, but there is a scenario where Australia kept going up and down the court, and they were just like younger and faster than the U.S. team.
Yeah, the coaches should have a say, but ultimately,
we know.
But it's not like Kerr is LeBron's coach in the NBA, so he should be able to have some sort of say over the roster. Plus, his track record would dictate that.
By the way, let me just say, LeBron was also awesome too. I mean, he's still he would back down some poor Australian guy who had no prayer against him. He's so it's just hard when you have a team, you have to split up. The Australian guys played all their players, and U.S. wasn't really trying. It's going to be hard. That's a good point. Like, Steve Kerr's got some work to do here. Who was it last time? Was it still Coach K or Popovich? Or
I think it was Popovich.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a hard job. I would not want that job because you're going to have to tell somebody who's amazing to sit down. Now, what they're talking about with Kawhi, I don't totally understand, right?
It makes no sense. Yeah. I like Lawrence Frank. This is an outright lie. What else we got, Peter? Anything else?
Just going to close with football. The Browns and kicker Dustin Hopkins reportedly agree on a 3-year deal worth $15.9 million.
Nicest guy in the entire NFL. If you ever get to meet Dustin Hopkins, literally the single nicest guy.
Wow. What makes him so just
Well,
jovial?
I met him through Case Keenum. Because they were on Washington together, of all teams, I think. Anyway, and I met him before. He is just a very friendly guy. And people in Cleveland love him for some reason last year. Like, he became a bit of a cult hero.
You're a kicker. You've got to be on a different plane.
You got to be a nice guy, too. Like, you can't be a jerk at a kicker, right?
Was Sebastian Janikowski a nice guy?
Yeah, he was a jerk.
I think
Butker, obviously.
Vanderjack. Yeah, Butker's got his detractors.
Well, Adam Vinatieri seems like the sweetest person. Have you ever seen an interview with Adam Vinatieri?
Well, I mean, he's going to the Hall of Fame, so I at this point, I'd probably be very sweet. You've got to have a different kind of mentality. I don't think I'd be suited for kicker. I'm a little too... the losses would stay with me too much. I don't think I could just put it behind me.
Well, my point was, like, you got to have some humility as a kicker because you're on this team of incredible athletes and you are not an incredible athlete. It's like Pete Bellotti going out there with the Jets. It's I think you would have a certain amount of humility because yes, you're right. You have to have what is the expression? Ice water in your veins,
sure.
But. Yeah, I think you should be a nice guy because if you're like 5'10" and you weigh 160 pounds, you're not going in and being a big guy in the locker room.
Justin Tucker's a really nice guy, too. Years ago at the Super Bowl,
lovely.
I had a chance to spend some time with him covering the Super Bowl, and he was really nice to talk to.
Yeah, he's a great interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, then again, you're right. Then there's some controversial ones.
It's a mixed bag. 855-212-4227. Peter, thank you so much. Coming up, we are breaking down the AFC South today. Perloff and I are moving through every NFL division before training camp opens up. So today, the AFC South is in our sights. And to be honest, a division that used to be an afterthought that has gotten a lot more interesting. So stay tuned.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Talked about our colleague Boomer Esiason saying when there's a lot of smoke, there's fire. Do we have Boomer's cut, by the way, Pete? We do, right? Do we have Boomer's audio from yesterday on WFAN talking about the Jets' interest in Davante Adams?
I'm hearing that this is going to happen, if it does happen, somewhere in late August, early September.
Really?
Yeah, and the cap hit for him is $25 million.
Why would it take that long?
I'm not sure about why it would take that long, but Davante's never going to come out publicly and say, I want to leave the Raiders. But you do hear in this wide receiver program where he does this, I got to get out of here before I get killed. I mean, he says that, and that leads you to believe, leads the viewer to believe that he wants out of Oakland. But I don't see him saying that publicly. I don't see him going to the media and saying, get me out of here. I can see him saying to his agent, much like he did it to Green Bay, the same type of thing.
There you go. So obviously met Las Vegas there. But you know what? The idea is this is going to be why it may take so long is because this is not going to be an outright, hey, please trade me. It's going to be more back channels. It's going to have to be probably the Raiders going out and shopping this around to see if they can get a better deal from somewhere else. And then the Jets would have to top it. All these things go into the mix.
But why didn't it happen in the offseason? I'm still kind of confused about all that.
I think that maybe the public perception of this changed because of that receiver show. Right.
But why didn't, if he was so unhappy, why wouldn't they move on in March?
Well, maybe I have no idea, but perhaps it's now that the receiver show is out there and it's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's could be viewed as a distraction. I mean, you're going to have a lot of players when the Raiders show up for training camp are going to be asked about this, right? Definitely the quarterbacks, definitely Antonio Pierce, the head coach. I mean, it's like the biggest thing going on with the Raiders is that Davante Adams, is clearly much more upset behind the scenes than we ever thought last year. And granted, Jimmy Garoppolo's gone, but not everybody's gone.
Yeah, I mean, he got traded. Last time he got traded was March, and Tyreek Hill got traded in March. So my only counter is if he's that miserable, he would ask for a trade and be gone already.
Maybe. George is in Los Angeles, is on the Maggie and Perloff show. Good morning, George.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Yeah, I think this is going to be a trade, but I think it'd be more like a third-round pick. But there's another reason I think the Raiders still in some financial trouble. I heard rumors that Bank of America might own them now instead of that other guy with the weird haircut. But anyway, good to talk to you guys this morning, and take care.
George, thank you.
But why
the guy with the weird haircut? You mean Mark Davis?
Yeah. Why would you do a third-round pick? Because don't you get a third-round comp pick if he leaves? Like, actually, I mean, like, third-round pick, are they going to do that? Is that what this is all going to boil down to in, like November? Hey, here's a third-round pick for Davante Adams. I'll give up a third-round pick for Davante Adams. I'll draft in the Maggie and Perloff show for a third-round pick.
He can cut tape for us. I think that's the interesting part. We
need it.
I know, we're down bodies around here.
Who's that tall guy in the bullpen?
Perloff's cutting tape? What?
Yeah. We'd love it. You can do our social. We got Cap. We don't need him. But here's the thing. It's like, if you have... You're right. A third-round pick does sound a little ridiculous, even though he's 32 years old. So that's going to mean a lot of teams would be involved. If you're the GM, Tom Telesco, you know that the more teams who could likely be interested, the higher the price is going to go. And again, I think you underestimate the Jets. Like, there is a real desperation here, and they want to make everything right for Rodgers. And I think they'd be willing to mortgage a pick in the future to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jets gave up a first-round pick, that'd be... Before the season, if the Jets are good and they do it at the trade deadline, that's fine. But like, it's just like, can you do like the NBA and protect that top 10 protected? Yeah, I don't think you can. So like, that's if the Jets call the Raiders, that's very intriguing. But if Rodgers is healthy, that pick will probably stink. So I don't know. It's a tough thing. I'll bet you we should do like some big bet on this. Like,
on Davante Adams?
Yes, I would take the side that he'll be there the rest of the year, just based on the fact that like he's still there. Like, there's got to be something drawing. I think it's that beautiful house cutting in the mountains in Nevada. Then I think it's his kids or probably like their schools. You say, it's only 6 months, go to New York. I don't know. Like, Jersey, like the real estate taxes, is he really going to want to deal with all that? A lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was a real serious parent. Like, he's not going to want to be away from his kids for 6 months. And there's no way his wife, based on that Netflix show, is going to move his family to New Jersey for 6 months.
I just want to try to get Davante Adams' career earnings to see how he could make this work. Let's see. Hold on. What do you think he's made in his entire career? Will I find it?
$100 million? Actually, I'm not sure. Receivers didn't get paid. He gets, definitely. Like, he's on I think he has like $100 million deal now. So it's probably 100.
Why can I find this so easily? Okay, career earnings. You're close. $112.2 million.
Yeah, I mean, in New Jersey, that'll get you that'll get you a 3-bedroom.
Man, you're not that far off.
But you don't think that I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Like, you don't think moving your family is a big deal for that short period of time?
I don't. I think that people make it work. I think people who have lesser means have to make it work. And I think, Davante Adams, the one thing I'm also taking from the receiver show is I think the dude is locked in on football. Like, this is his, sometimes you wonder how much guys care. This dude definitely cares. He cares about his legacy. We talked about him being on the Hall of Fame track, and can he keep that up while he's catching passes from Aiden O'Connell? I get the sense, and I don't think it's just putting on for show. I really get the sense that he is this all-in type of receiver. I think you have to be at the NFL level. Like moving cross-country for 6 months to try to go win a Super Bowl, I think is a small-ish sacrifice to make for professional athletes.
I think the only reason he's there now is because of lifestyle and family. Otherwise, he'd been gone already. I mean, he would have said in the offseason, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, he still has AOC as his quarterback. Like, there's no, probably, unless Aiden O'Connell, they kept calling him AOC in the show. Yeah. And, there's nothing's changed, and he's still wearing that Raiders jersey. So I wonder, I think it's family and West Coast, and, why did he leave? He left Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy he left Aaron Rodgers to go join a team that hadn't won a playoff game in 25 years. It's clearly winning is not the only thing.
Well, that was a very specific example where he was joining his college quarterback.
Right, well, he wasn't joining the best team. He was joining his buddy.
Right, but I think they had this delusion in their head, him and Derek Carr had this delusion in their head that, hey, we're going to team up in the pros and we're going to be so incredible. Remember we had David Carr on when we were still in the afternoon, NFL Network analyst, and he said, if we only knew the goals that Davante and Derek had, like I forgot how he put it. He's like, we'd be blown away. Like, they were planning on setting passing records and all that stuff, and it never ended up working out. So there was another reason why he went to Vegas.
I just think there's more to it. Otherwise, he'd be gone already. I think he loves it there. By the way, why not? Did you see how many levels that house had? It was awesome.
This is all these real estate shows you've been watching or getting into your head.
100,000%.
Oh, man. Okay, coming up, we will do some very important business around here, and that is updating the Simpsons region of the Maggie Perloff Sitcom Bracket.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
So much to get to today. Lots of sports, but also the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So, yes, we have sports. We've got baseball. We've got football. We've got SEC Media Days. Don't worry. We've got it all. But we should update some results from yesterday and then lay out, Perloff, who is battling in the Sitcom Bracket today.
Yeah, I think
52% to 48%. That's a bit of a shock.
I'm surprised because the 50 shows have not done well. I Love Lucy. Now, I Love Lucy goes up against a really hard 3 seed.
That 3 seed would be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, pardon me, who walks over 30 Rock 60 to 40. This was not close. I'll give you an upset for you. Technically, the 5 seed, that 70 show, takes out the 4 seed Brady Bunch. You were surprised the Brady Bunch even got out of the first round, right?
I mean, Brady Bunch. Yeah, I mean, Brady Bunch is a kid show. Again, we're getting out of this. Like, did adults watch Brady Bunch and think that was funny? Like, that was a structural issue that we've had from the beginning. Yeah, like Brady Bunch is cute, but it's not funny, is it?
Well, I mean, taste. That's your taste level, right?
No, but it wasn't designed to be.
Some people don't think Big Bang Theory is funny, but it's a.
But Brady Bunch was designed to make a 10-year-old laugh, not a 30-year-old laugh. Right? That's not taste. That's like it was marketed specifically for little kids. Anyway,
along with Saved by the Bell. So those are the results from yesterday in the Seinfeld bracket. Now we turn to today, which is the Simpsons bracket, where the Simpsons is the number 1 seed. The Simpsons. They are taking on the 8th seed, The Big Bang Theory.
Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Wait, the earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. We built the pyramids.
All right, there you go. So that's the 1-8 matchup that is live in the next minute or so. The 4-5 matchup in the Simpsons region is the Jeffersons.
Where we're moving on now. We're moving on up. To the side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up to the side.
All right, and the Jeffersons, man, what a great theme song. And also reminds me of the moment if you ever go out to karaoke with your friends when everyone's totally plastered and you start doing the TV theme songs. Does anyone else get there on the karaoke nights? All right, just me. The 5 seed in this region is Martin. Okay, so that's the 4-5 is Jefferson's up against Martin. We move on. This is the Simpsons region, the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket. The 6th seed is the Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
Very good. Goes up against the 14 seed. People were very mad at this one. They thought this was underseeded. Family Guy.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely?
This is the best matchup ever.
It's so
There's
good.
not 2 more opposite shows in the history of television. Like a feel-good show about a bunch of retired women versus the Family Guy. Oh, my God, bring it on. And then, by the way, a lot of fans of Golden Girl. This could be closer than people think.
I think this is going to be close. All right, rounding out the Simpsons region, the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket, the 2nd seed, a behemoth, The Office. Okay, The Office faces the 7 seed in this region. That would be a little show called Family Ties.
I bet we've been together for a million years.
I think I've seen every episode of Family Ties. I had no idea that was the theme song.
Like-
Did you?
I like
Extended version of it.
I thought, I was like, is this like Africa by Toto?
What's the
Bless
lyric?
Rain?
What's the name of that song?
I thought it was like, what would you do? Or something like that.
Should we listen to a little more of it? Can we speed up to the bridge? No? Okay.
Any predictions for this bracket? I think The Office, Family Guy in the next round. If that does happen, that is a battle royale, and the winner of that goes probably against The Simpsons. It is a very interesting bracket because I think all 3 of those shows. I think Big Bag's way too low at 8, but that probably will not get out of there.
I think a really big one could be, and if you're playing this out, and I think you're right, Family Guy against The Simpsons. Is that like a Jordan LeBron type of situation?
No, because
The Simpsons is still on and still.
Yeah. So yes, but I feel like
your taste, like when you were born.
No,
what
I just think that Simpsons was there first.
Yeah.
Maybe it is Jordan LeBron in that sense. Like it's going to be hard. I don't know because Family Guy, like I don't think they compete against each other. Like Family Guy feels like an homage to The Simpsons, and Simpsons was there for longer. So I feel like Simpsons would be a favorite in that one, but I don't know. There are these Family Guy stands here. Yeah, and then again, I know so many people love The Office, and people rewatch that. It's done well in syndication, so maybe that's a sneaky one. Yeah, watch Golden Girls come out of here. That'd be amazing. Then we could, or who's alive in the Golden Girls?
Out of the cast?
Yeah, Rue McClanahan, right?
No, I think they're all gone.
Are they all gone?
No.
B. Arthur died recently, I remember.
They're all gone.
No, Betty White died recently.
Oh, didn't B. Arthur die, or am I imagining that? I hope. Oh, God.
Dangerous territory.
Yeah. No, she died in 2009.
Yeah. I think Betty White is unfortunately, the person who passed away most recently. Did you guys ever watch that show? And there was like a rumor, that the mom, Sophia, was actually a young person just dressed in the costume?
Yeah.
No, I never heard of
Getty?
that. All of them.
What's that?
She was like younger than everybody else on that show.
Right. Big Zoo's in with us today at our Zoom in. But was she though?
Yeah, she was younger than B. Arthur and Betty White for sure. I'm a Golden Girl stan over here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. She was born 1 year after Betty White.
But when did she pass away?
Yeah, 1 year after B. Arthur. 2008. Sorry, Estelle Getty passed in 2008.
Wait, Zoo, you're young? How old? You're 20.
I'm 28 now.
How did you find Golden Girls in syndication?
It's just all over the place, and then I listen to that theme song. It's good. And then the first time you watch an episode and you got the grandma Sophia coming in and she just starts talking, it's one of the funniest things. Like it just hits you out of nowhere. And I was hooked ever since. They just got, what they got? They got that feel good moment and they got that classic 90s, just like raunchy kind of comedy.
Sure.
But not too raunchy. Very classic.
It's network TV.
Oh, yeah. I was like, Rue McClanahan was always kind of like hitting on younger guys.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Like there was definitely some adult jokes hidden in there.
Oh, without a doubt. They're always, anytime that she's popping on screen, they're like, Blanche, and then it's like always some like dirty line that they're saying, like real deep Southern type talk too. I'm like, okay, I'll see you girls.
I see you, Golden Girls.
In my head, the Golden Girls always lived by the people on Empty Nest. Right, because they had the same type of set.
Oh, the exteriors,
The same exteriors. It felt like they were like right next to each other.
That whole era lived near each other, but they all had the same sets. Where was it? Supposed to be Florida?
Florida, definitely. This looked like where my grandmother lived. And I used to watch the Golden Girls with my grandparents, and it was like that, the Florida, the type of grass they have, how everything's one level for the most part. It just looked exactly like where my grandma lived.
Have you guys ever heard about at old folks' homes that there's like a lot of VD?
Yes.
A lot of that started with the Golden Girls because they were frisky.
The Golden Girls set a trend out there in the geriatric community. I love it.
They weren't in a nursing home though. They all lived together.
Well, also too, like in communities, like there are a lot of players out there.
That reminds me of the line in Little Miss Sunshine, if you remember that movie, with Alan Arkin,
right?
When he's like, no, I'm not endorsing this. This is a line from the movie. He goes, when you're young, you're crazy to do drugs, and when you're older, you're crazy not to do drugs. But the Golden Girls was phenomenal. The archetypes, fantastic. The theme song on point, but goes up against Family Guy. This is the thing about Family Guy being seated 14th. It's really created a lot of issues in this bracket.
How did this bracket come to be? Because I feel like you have 4 winners in this bracket right now. You got
just
Golden
this
Girls.
region.
Yeah, just that's what I mean, this region right here. You got Golden Girls, Family Guy, you got The Office, and I mean, you talk about The Simpsons up top.
Honestly,
I mean, it's crazy.
But Martin is very big for a lot of people, too.
That's what I mean. That should be at least getting to an Elite 8. This might get knocked out this round.
Well,
It's
you should see.
too much.
I think you're underestimating how many good sitcoms there are. All the brackets are like, there's one bracket that has Friends, Modern Family, and something like Cheers all going against 1, 2, 3.
Married with Children.
And Married with Children. Yeah, this is not even the heaviest of the heavyweights. I think Seinfeld region is like, that's the one, and like that's got the number 1 seed. This region's a bet. I wouldn't want to take a bet on this one. I mean, yeah. What does Vegas say, Maggie? They like the Simpsons barely.
I think the Simpsons is probably going to get through. To win the whole thing.
No, with this bracket, they like the Simpsons.
I think they like the Simpsons coming
But
out
it's
of this,
close.
but I wouldn't be surprised if we get some upsets here. So anyway, you can go to @MaggieandPearl on X and you can vote. You can go to @MaggieGray if you want to watch the show live on X too. We do that as well. Okay, we've got the AFC South to break down today. We're going all through this division, which again was like known as the wake me up when it's over division that has now completely turned around. This has at least 3 wildly intriguing teams, Perloff, and I can make a case for all 4, and we're going to talk about it next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What would we do, baby, without us? What would we do?
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. We are doing our greatest sitcom ever bracket, and last segment we revealed the newest bracket. We have Simpsons going against Big Bang Theory, Jeffersons versus Martin, Golden Girl, Family Guy, and The Office versus Family Ties. And Pete played part of Family Ties that Maggie and I didn't recognize because I think this is the lyric to the Family Ties theme that makes more sense. I kind of remember this, so you could go vote at Maggie and Pearl. You recognize that, right?
Definitely. Now I get it.
Yeah, you played like the instrumental part.
Right.
Yeah.
I think not to bash our executive producer, I don't think he knows anything about the 80s TV sitcom.
Oh, he's never seen half these shows.
He wasn't alive, in his defense, but
that's true. But
we were coming up with this bracket. He's like, well, I try to honor the old shows, and he's like doing a show from like 1949, like when radio was like just turning to TV.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the old shows to him is like. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Boy Meets World.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, I haven't watched ancient shows like Friends. You know, like, oh man, if you want to feel old, talk to sitcoms about EJ. Okay, AFC South, we're talking about is. You said earlier, like it went from the worst division in football, like you really wanted to play the AFC South, to oh man, they geared up quickly. And the one team to me that just geared up the most is the Houston Texans. Went from having J.J. Watt and being a wild card team to irrelevant to now all of a sudden on paper, this is like the team. I mean, top four. There is not a single, show me a place on this team, Maggie, where they're not elite. I mean, every single level, every position group, you could argue they are in top 10 in the league, except maybe running back, but their quarterback, CJ Stroud, is great. He's coming in his second year. Great wide receivers, great offensive line, great defensive line, amazing linebackers, great secondary. They have it all. It's
amazing. You know, the only thing I think about with this team, because you're right, this has been, you know, we're used to, you know, some somewhat quick turnarounds in the NFL, but this one feels almost meteoric, right? Like this rise, and it's definitely behind, you know, CJ Stroud. And yes, all the position groups you could say are top 5 in the NFL, but obviously Stroud is the piece that holds it all together. And I think that Stroud has now created this bar for other rookie quarterbacks that is almost going to be impossible for them to hit. You know, it's like, even Peyton Manning had a terrible rookie year. You know, it's really hard to come out, especially with a team that's, you know, quote unquote, like not great, and you set the league on fire. And with Stroud, I just think every quarterback, and I'm especially looking at Caleb Williams, like it almost feels like you have no room for any kind of, you know, hey, welcome to the league or easing in, because look at what everyone's going to say, well, CJ Stroud just did it. And he was, you know, in a lot of ways kind of ripped apart in the pre-draft process, let alone somebody who's got all the hype in the world like Caleb Williams or any of the 6 quarterbacks who were taken in the first round. C.J. Stroud has now moved the goalpost on what you expect from a rookie QB.
Well, right. I mean, C.J. Stroud was coming out of Ohio State where all the Ryan Day quarterbacks had not really done well. Justin Fields was a disappointment. Dwayne Haskins was a disappointment. Everyone thought, oh, you can throw 40 touchdowns at Ohio State, but look who you're throwing to first-round picks. So, yeah, I remember the anti-C.J. Stroud takes. I think I had a couple of them, to be honest. But he's amazing. The only argument I have against that is like this year's quarterback class was pretty insane. You got 6 guys in the first 12 picks. Some of them are in pretty good situations. I feel like there's going to be some good rookie years. I'm just doing math here.
Or maybe this is the new thing.
Well, I don't know if they're going to match Stroud last year, but I think Jaden Daniels, if he's healthy, is going to be fantastic. Caleb Williams. Perfectly. Look at Caleb Williams' receivers. He's perfectly set up for success. Drake May is in a tougher situation.
That's also no expectation.
Yeah. Maybe he's CJ Stroud, because you're right. We had no expectations for him. But it does feel like it might be a trend now more than an outlier, because there's going to be a good rookie out of this class. There has to be. If you throw 6 darts at the board, one of these guys is going to be a star, Maggie.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, so that's my one thought about the Texans. Then I have another thought about the Houston Texans, and you just outlined it. Outlined it. It's on paper, this is a phenomenal team. Is it all a little too good to be true? That's it. That's the only thing, and I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just like, because if you look at this is a team that should go to the playoffs, that should win another playoff game. Is it all a little too good to be true? Now, I can tell you from my own team, the Buffalo Bills, I do not envision Stephon Diggs being an issue. I don't know who out there is thinking that he's going to be a bad egg or whatever and he's going to cause problems. I do not think that is going to be an issue. In fact, I think it's the opposite. He helps quarterbacks. I know he may have worn out his welcome in Buffalo and maybe even in Minnesota, but I'm telling you, he helps QBs more than he hurts them. So I don't think that Diggs is going to be a problem.
I mean, yes, I agree with that. Like, that's funny. They don't need Diggs at all. Like, they have Nico Collins is a true 1A now. Tank Dell's probably one of the better 2s. And they got like 3 other receivers: Noah Brown, John Mechie, Robert Woods. They traded for Scron. They have so many guys. They have Dalton Schultz, the tight end. And that's an offensive coordinator who loves to hand the ball off. If anything, Diggs will get less targets, so they better win. You might hear some grumbling from him. But that being said, like this defense, they're built like the Niners. This is D'Amico Ryans as their head coach. Like their defensive line is insane. Like they should just destroy people defensively now, which they did not do last year. So they want to win like the Niners. They don't want to win. I don't think they want to be a high octane offense. I think they want to beat you with all sorts of diversity on offense. And then look at their defensive line. Will Anderson on one side, Daniil Hunter on the other.
Yep.
Then Danico Autry, who had 11 sacks coming up the middle. Their linebackers are ridiculous studs. Christian Harris, you saw in the playoffs last year, he's going to be great. They're just like totally loaded. They need their short cornerback.
Well, Derek Stingley.
Stingley's a superstar. But
did you see Michael Lombardi said he's better than Sauce Gardner?
No, I did not. But number 3 overall pick. But I know they brought in Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State, and I did see a headline like, "Ooh, there's a reason that Detroit got rid of him." Like, remember he was like he was 4th, I think. That did not work out. So anyway, there are a couple little holes there, but I don't know. The schedule's tough. I know you're saying about too good to be true, but if these guys are healthy, like they're going to steamroll people.
I know. It's just, do you have to see another year of it with Stroud? I don't know. I mean, he's set up for so much success. And to be honest, like the schedule it's not terrible. I mean, your bye is late, and coming out of the bye, they're one of these teams that plays the 3 games in 10 days thing, because they're playing December 15th, 21st, and 25th, and it's Miami at Kansas City and then Baltimore. It's a really tough way to finish out the season. But, there's a lot of games here.
I think Baltimore's the same side. They have that Wednesday game. Yeah, I would load manage one of those. They should their defense, like, how are you going to stop Will Anderson? Like, who do you block there? Daniil Hunter's unstoppable. I find it, like, on paper, give Nick Caserio credit for building that so quickly. This is the formula, Maggie. Rookie quarterback, rookie deal. Just load the team with talent. It's worked in recent years. I think it's going to work again. I love this team.
And I think you and I are probably going to be aligned on this one, picking them to win the division.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I think the question about them, are they the biggest favorite in any division? Well, the Chiefs, obviously, but they're close. They're in that discussion. Like if there are 8 divisions, I think 4 of them seem like strong front runners, and this is one of them to me.
Okay, we will continue our breakdown of the AFC South, a division that all of a sudden got very interesting. And C.J. Stroud is a big reason why. Peter Schwartz is in with us this morning doing updates. Hello.
Good morning. Hello. Dodgers outfielder Teoscar Hernandez won the home run derby in Arlington last night, and it was exciting, at least in the final round, as he edged Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. 14-13. And he explains how he was feeling towards the end of the derby.
Oh man, I was nervous. Not when I see that ball, the last one. When he still got 2 outs and one homer to tie it with me, and then the last shot that he got, it was a little like too close to tie it, but thank God it didn't went out. So super happy.
And he became the first Dodger ever to win home run derby. Now, somehow down the road, years from now, people will not be talking about Teoscar Hernandez winning the home run derby. They will talk about what happened before the home run derby.
Oh, boy.
And that was the national anthem, which was delivered last night by country music singer Ingrid Andress.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
All right, gets worse.
Yeah, that part is not that bad.
That's not that bad.
No, that's actually it's pretty impressive. She has a good voice, but then it goes off the rails.
It goes off the rails.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
By the way, that first part, I totally disagree. Like, my wife said she was so off key, she had to turn her off 1 second in.
Oh, God.
Like, she was not, said that was not a good voice, and you're right, it did get worse.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
There you go.
Listen to that crowd.
I mean, not the worst, but
It's the second worst I've ever heard.
really.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, obviously Carl Lewis won, but what do you mean not the worst? What was not the worst about it? I mean, Enrico Palazzo was worse.
Yeah. Do we have a little Enrico?
I don't feel so bad about my performance.
At first, I thought she was just doing. At first, I thought the music. Going back to the woman last night at the home run derby, I thought maybe the audio was off on the Fox ESPN broadcast, and then I thought, oh, she's just trying to be avant-garde. You know, she's trying to do something. Now this is
Her own twist on it.
but this is a unique spot. You know, doing the national anthem in Texas is a unique spot to all of a sudden go avant-garde. She is a country music singer. I think this one you pretty much just play down the middle. But yeah, at the end, I think she lost her way.
I didn't feel
At
after
the
hearing
end,
that.
From note one, she was awful.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
After hearing it,
Land of the
Oh God. It's awful.
I don't feel so bad about how I performed Take Me Out to the Ball Game last night.
That was a vision last
Yeah.
night, Peter. I mean, this has got it. So, Peter, you're doing
public address
for the
New York Rise professional softball team
Now-
on Long Island.
You approach them.
No.
They
I
approach you.
approached them about doing PA.
Right.
But they approached me about singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game last night.
Got
Do
it.
something a little different.
Me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and crackers.
You should have declined.
I tried to.
Yeah, a couple things.
Wow.
I've heard like renditions of "Happy Birthday" at like a 5-year-old's
Yeah.
birthday party that would have been more on key than that.
When they approached me about it, I got the email. I discussed it with my wife, Cheryl, and she says, you cannot do that. There is a reason why you talk on the radio.
Yeah, not saying.
And I said to them, you do not want me doing this. I really didn't want to do it. And they said, no, we really want you to do
I
it.
don't believe that you didn't want to do it. I think you do
I
want to
did.
do it.
Well, no, I wanted to
Give
do
the
it.
crowd a little something.
Yeah, but it was okay. I was worried about it all day, and I had fun with it. No, we'll see. I don't know if they'll ask me to do it again tonight. We'll see if I have to do it again tonight.
Maybe you should,
Get another crack at it?
I was going to say, Tiki Barber is around here in the afternoons, and he was on Broadway, so maybe he can give you some pointers.
Well, I mean, we've been entertained by Peter singing many times in the past.
Macarena has a boyfriend who they call by the name of Vitorino. And when he left to sign up for the army, she was giving it away to his two friends. Macarena has a boyfriend who they call by the name of Vitorino. And when he left to sign up for the army, she was giving it away to his two friends. Give a little love into your Bonnie, Macarena.
Oh, my gosh. That was, that was our one-hit wonder bracket during the NCAA tournament.
You kind of let Ingrid Andress off the hook here.
I
I think our audience is stuck with you singing Take Me Out of the Ball Game.
Macarena. Oh, gosh. Well, good luck with all that tonight.
I'll probably practice when I get home if they ask me to do it again tonight.
Well, I'm assuming also you do carry a phone with you.
I do.
You could have, like, someone else singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game and just hold it up to the microphone.
I suppose that would be the easy way out.
You're not a quitter, though, Peter.
No,
I know
I don't
this
like.
about
Listen,
you.
I teach my kid. Once you start doing something, like
Gotta
don't walk
follow
away
through.
from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that they were like 2 verses ahead.
No, I'll explain what happened. That was not my fault.
The crowd
because
got ahead of
you. In the script, it said Peter leads Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and then we have a stadium
And they
host.
didn't follow properly.
Yeah, right.
So I said, okay, we're going to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Allie is going to help me, and they play the music. So I start to sing it, and then she was talking while I started to sing it. I don't know why she started talking.
Sounds like finger pointing here.
Well,
We
I
gotta
am
take a
finger
little-
pointing because
take a little
because as
accountability.
much fun as I can poke at myself, I do want to point out when it's something is not my fault.
Can I give
She's
you-
a lady. Oh, whoa, she's a lady.
Can I give you one thing you should do? Do it like the Cubs at Wrigley, where you go end of one, end
Yeah,
of
but I don't
two,
want to steal, Maggie. I don't want to like rip off somebody else's thing. I have to come up with my own shtick.
Well, I'm just saying so everyone starts at the same time.
Right. Well, that's good. We have to have the pregame meeting tonight. We're going to have to hammer that out if this
I
is going to
will-
continue.
Many emails. I should probably get on a Zoom before then to work it all out.
I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me.
What song is that?
That's Dua Lipa levitating in AI Peter Schwartz.
Oh, God.
Oh, you're AIing me now?
Yes.
You don't even need the AI Schwartz. There's nothing better than real Schwartz.
Just open the mic.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
just
funny.
give me the script and I'll read it.
That's so great.
It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men.
No, it
Every
is-
specimen.
Wait, is that AI or real?
That's AI.
That's not
That's
me.
a new game we should play. Is this AI or is it
Tall,
really?
blonde, dark, and lean. Rough and tough and strong and mean.
That's awesome.
Wait.
Imagine if Peter Schwartz was the lost member of the Village People. I don't even know who's saying It's Raining Men. It's probably not the Village People. Someone
wait,
else.
it's
It's
Hall
someone
Notes?
else.
The Weather Girls.
All the notes.
No, what's their song that's like It's Raining Men?
I forgot it. It should be a Village People song, but it's not.
Also, that song.
I forgot who sang It's Raining Men. Was that in
The
our
Weather
one-hit
Girls.
wonder? Is
Yeah,
that
the
who it
Weather
is?
Girls.
Okay.
Oh, I used to get Maniac. That's
Right.
Hall Notes, right?
No, Maniac was some
Michael
one-hit wonder.
Cimbello.
Right.
Maniac.
Yeah,
That's not Hall Notes?
That's
Oh, sorry.
from Flashdance.
Yeah.
Haha, sorry.
Good call.
Oh, they have Man-Eater. That's the one I'm thinking.
Man-Eater. That is
yes.
Hall Notes.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I was thinking.
Well, Peter, I think you got a whole night ahead of you.
Yeah. Day of planning.
Here's a question maybe for the poll. Who sang it worse, Peter or the woman last night? She's Grammy nominated. I'm sure a couple local Emmys,
Well,
but
at least she has something to fall back on. I have, it's not like I'm going back to another singing career. It's just take me out to the ball game.
I know this could do damage for her.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it gave a little bit of juice to last night. That was not a star-laden home run derby.
I was gonna say, what was an old? It was a bad omen.
It was
I
funny
could do
too.
a duet with her.
When they cut to the players and Alec Boehm is like clearly stifling a laugh, that was amazing.
Well, think about it. You're Alec Boehm, 162 games a year plus the regular season. You have heard this anthem so many times. He's heard this more often than the regular person. He knows good from bad.
Some of the other players are like, wait, what is going on? A lot of the other guys are like, is this here? Am I hearing? By the way, one of her singles is called Wishful Drinking. This is Ingrid Andress, who is a very
sounds like our chat.
celebrated singer. Like I think she was doing some wishful drinking or
It sounds like everyone in the
wishful
crowd.
something before she got there. Is this good for her? Is she like more famous now? I don't know.
Oh, maybe. I mean, everyone's calling her that woman who sang the anthem.
Yeah.
Is if you will ascribe to the all publicity is good. Is this good for her?
The best anthem is, and I've said this before, best anthem of all time is when Mo Cheeks came out and helped that little girl in the Trailblazers.
That was a heartwarming
But she lost the lyrics. So my daughter and I, we played this last night. My daughter's kind of a singer. She loves plays and stuff. And she's like, oh, that's terrible. I'm like, you want to hear a really bad one? I played Enrico Palazzo for her from Naked Gun for the first time. And she thought it was the funniest thing she ever heard, which made me wonder, she's 12. Can I show her Naked Gun? Is she ready for a late 80s comedy?
Oh, man. She's not going to get some of the jokes.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I barely remember. Why is Dr. Joyce Brothers in the booth? Like, there are a lot of jokes.
Yeah, she's not going to know. She's not going to get that one.
Maybe she can be on Saturday Night Live next season, kind of like, make up for it and actually sing her own music.
Oh, this girl?
Yeah.
I'm thinking for your daughter, Emma. I'm thinking about it now. I probably saw Naked Gun when I was 12. There's some funny jokes there for kids.
Yeah, a bunch of bombs in the air made her die laughing.
It's a great line.
And then she said, she asked me to sing it. I'm not going to do it for you now. I'm like, it dawned on me, I do not know the words. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's unpatriotic, but it's hard.
You don't know the words of the national anthem?
Every line? No, I'm not good at memorizing the song lyrics. You could do the whole thing off memory, like right now?
Definitely. We're in sports. We've heard this national anthem so much. I remember covering basketball games. I'm listening 41 times every home game.
Wait,
And
you
then the
guys could
playoffs.
all sing national anthem off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad at it. I'm worse than this woman, but I definitely know the words.
Wow. Sorry.
I might bomb a couple words, but I got it.
It's "Oh Say Can You See" by the dawn's early light. What so proudly we hail by the twilight's last gleaming. Who brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous night.
I think you missed a couple of words there.
Did I?
Yeah. Like, I don't know what the heck you're talking
Is
about.
it the perilous night or fight? Now
I think it's
It's a bunch
No,
of
I think it's
bombs
nice.
in the air. Like,
You know,
that's
here's
the other
the-
thing. Like, that
hold
wouldn't make
on.
any sense.
You know, it's actually the kind of song you actually have to sing it to get the words. You can't just say it.
Yeah, but there's
I'm not
like,
going to do that on air.
There's this line, "Over the ramparts we'd watch, so gallantly streaming." Like, that's hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
I would have to practice like crazy.
Well, yeah.
There's a
Darius
lot of
Rucker said it's the hardest thing to do.
A lot
But
of
apparently
singers
you
don't
could
do
memorize.
it.
You've heard it so many times, you knew it off the top of your head.
Well, I think I've got it. I think I do. But I can't say I can sing it well. I think I just know the words.
Yeah, a lot of singers decline invitations to do it because they don't want to be bothered with it.
It's like the dunk contest,
Yeah.
you know? Guys, stars are just begging out
Wait,
left
wait,
and
wait.
right.
I don't think you got everything you said right either. Unless I'm reading the wrong lyrics.
Do I have to do this now? I don't want to do this on air. Singing is so bad. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail in the twilight's last gleaming? Who brought stripes and bright stars?
You're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
You're gone already.
Really? What words did I miss?
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last
gleaming.
whose broad stripes
Oh, I said brought.
Who brought in stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
Or the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a terrible singer, but I know the words.
Yeah,
I'm pretty close.
Did you know who's broad stripes and bright stars?
I thought it was brought stripes. Pardon me. Brought stripes. It's broad stripes.
Broad stripes.
Apologies.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying it's not that easy of a song. You looked at me like I was crazy because I had to memorize. So I got Oh Say Can You See by the daughter.
Now.
Right, no, but I'll tell you where I got with my daughter. What so proudly we hail the twilight's last gleaming. Then it started going way south. Brought stripes and bright stars to the night's early dawn or something. I was just making up lyrics at that point. Or the rampart. Yeah, I did exactly like he did. And then I did definitely do a bunch of Enrico Palazzo and made her laugh. So that's the key.
There you go. Well,
So she was
Teoscar Hernandez won the whole thing. What's that?
So she was bad.
Yeah.
By the way, I thought Teoscar Hernandez a little hungry at that home run derby. Like, he really wanted to win that thing. Is that cool? Like, if I'm in the home run derby, I pretend I don't want to win. He was
that's
like,
not going to get you anywhere.
I don't know. Like,
Why would
everyone
you be
else
in
was
it then?
acting too cool for school, and he was like, I thought he was going to cry when he was losing at the end. Thought he was a little too into it.
Yeah, but if you enter it, don't you want to win it if you enter it?
You have to play it cool at the home run derby?
Yeah. No, like Alec Baum's like, I don't care if I win or lose. Bobby Witt Jr.
But he lost.
Yeah. But he came in and said, no one thought I'd be here. And he lost. He was like laughing. It was really fun, right? Whereas like Teoscar Hernandez was really, really into it. Like, he really wanted to win. No, I think like the big sluggers, they don't care, right?
I wouldn't mind taking a dive in the home run derby.
Yeah, I think it's terrible for your swing. They take 200 cuts.
Yeah, I would try to get out of there as fast as I could and just relax, watch everybody else try to hit home runs, and then take
Well, that's
take
essentially
advantage
what
of
Pete
the buffet.
Alonso did last night.
Right.
So and I
of the
think that
buffet.
can conclude our Pete Alonso competing in the home run derby. We've got it.
That's
What's
enough.
that, 5 times?
Yeah, what happened there?
At first, I thought the guy pitching to him wasn't great. Joust has been with him the whole time, and he was just off. Oh, well. Try to go win, actually, a playoff series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This is, as a Mets fan, you got to be like, this does not matter.
But
this
if they
is fine.
trimmed it down, again, let's say they just put 4 guys in there. Let's say they had the 4 best home run hitters, and they just made it just a little less taxing on them. It would be a better visual for everybody, and it would be easier for the players.
Like, cut
Just
it down
have
to
4.
That's a good idea. Like, cut it down to 10 pitches.
Right. But
Have a crazy anthem called a
the
night.
4 best guys have 2 rounds, and that's it.
Well,
1, 2, 3, you're done.
But they're not going
It's
to do
Major
it.
League Baseball, so next year they'll probably just start a runner on second. Peter, thank you so much for that. Coming up, we check in with our favorite college football coach next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Do you believe that? Deion.
You believe that?
And this portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam and just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Welcome back, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We check in on Deion Sanders, and this is actually a commentary about the Colorado program. Perloff, and normally we don't just listen to what everyone in the media has to say because, you know, we're too busy making our own statements and having our own opinions. But this one we paused on because Paul Finebaum on ESPN had this to say about Colorado and Deion Sanders.
I know that the media loves this story. We fall all over ourselves. But Colorado isn't important in college football. Deion Sanders is. He's a standalone person. He's one of the most charismatic people we've ever seen. But Colorado is nothing. They don't matter. They're irrelevant in the big picture of college football.
Okay, so that was Paul Finebaum.
Yeah, it's a great question. So can Deion be relevant in Colorado irrelevant? Because isn't Deion Colorado?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think you're really splitting hairs here. I mean, Deion is the face of the program, and if he's relevant, then therefore Colorado is relevant. I think what Finebaum is trying to say is that Colorado's not a national title contender and may not be a college football playoff team. That's fine, but don't say they're irrelevant. I think that you have TV ratings that would suggest otherwise. And again, if you have the most famous, high-profile coach, then that means that people are paying attention to the team. And that's what relevance is about. I mean, in some ways, I guess it's about winning, but it's also just about, do people care? And I do think people care about whether Deion succeeds or fails.
Right, but I think that's why Finebaum is saying this. Like, why are the ratings high on a 4-8 team? Like, what happened last year, and I agree with him, was totally ridiculous. We all got caught up in the hype. I did too.
Yeah.
We got caught up in the hype, and I think we overrated what Colorado was going to be. So I think that's why he's saying it. I think it's the backlash to the natural. It was one of the most overhyped teams in the history of sports. Like, we all, when they went 3-0, we're like, oh my God, Deion's going to make the playoff. I fell into it too. I'm not like above this. So I think what he's pointing out is like, oh my God, that was just a ridiculous stance. We all got caught up in the frenzy.
Okay, but I also think it's maybe going too far in the other direction to say now they're irrelevant. You know, I don't know how many games they're going to win this. None of us do. But I still think they're going to be a story, and it's not just about Deion. It's also about Shedeur. Like, let's not forget, a lot of people who watch college football are watching because they love college football, and a lot of people are watching because they're looking at which quarterbacks and which players are going to be great on the next level. So Shedeur being a top 5, top 10, definitely first-round draft pick, also makes Colorado interesting.
But I don't know.
And Travis Hunter, too, is a star.
I think we'd watch them anyway. He's a Deion. But that being said, if that's true, you could still make an argument they're the most overhyped team in the country because their coverage is still going to way, way outstretch their success on the field. So I think
what if Shedeur is a legit, could go number one overall? Do you still think we're overhyping them?
Yes, yeah. Because honestly, if they are the most watched team in the country, they should be close to the best team. If they're 7-6 and they are the most rated team, like there's something weird about that. That's where you get the overhype. Like, they shouldn't be the highest rated team. Like Georgia should be the highest rated team. There's a logic there. You know what I'm saying? Like you should judge them on wins and losses like every other program. But Deion's such a cult of personality that we watch them anyway, even if they're not good. I think that's true. So I do think like you could argue they're overhyped. Yes, I think they get way many more eyeballs than they should for a team that's probably around 500.
Overhyped, I'll give you that. Irrelevant, though? See, that's where I can't get there.
But isn't a 500 team by definition irrelevant?
Well,
so that's what Finebaum is saying, and there is a logic there.
Yeah, I just don't. I can't go down the road with them because, again, Deion is the program, and if you're saying Deion's relevant, then I think ipso facto the program's relevant, and also I think Shedeur makes this even more relevant because I think there is a tune-in factor. Even if you're not expecting him to win a title, you're still looking at him as this great prospect. It's kind of odd. Like if we had known then what we know now, we all would have watched every Texas Tech game that Patrick Mahomes played in. But we didn't know what he was going to end up becoming because there were questions about whether he was just a product of the spread offense or whatever. Now we're watching a guy who we know is going to be going really high. His team might not be great, but we know he's going to be good. Just like you would have tuned in for USC games last year for Caleb Williams, even though USC didn't have a chance to sniff a national title.
Yeah, but I don't think that...
No one says USC was irrelevant.
Right. But so, like, Jaden Daniels went number 2, and we watch LSU because they were LSU, but I don't think, like, you don't tune in just because the guys are in high... Like, for example, Carson Beck could easily go 1 and Shedeur 2. Like, we're not like, oh, man, I got to make sure I'm at a TV to watch Carson Beck. Are we? I mean, I'd like to meet the person who's like, hey, I'm going to cancel all my plans. Carson Beck is slinging around for Georgia. That'd be crazy because, first of all, he just doesn't play like that. He's not going to throw 40 touchdowns. I don't know if we get that hyped about that. It's Deion. Come on, you know it's Deion. It's not Shedeur being the number 1 pick.
I think it's both.
I don't think so at all. But I think next year, I think Deion is still going to get the eyeballs. He's so interesting.
Yeah, I guess the idea that they're irrelevant, I can't get there with Paul Finebaum. But anyway, interesting. Think about 855-212-4227. Do you consider Colorado irrelevant in the national college football landscape? Okay, lots to do, including a certain quarterback is top 10, but does his team want him?
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, you invited everyone you knew. travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party,
Glass gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars?
You're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
You're gone already.
Glass gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars?
You're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
You're gone already.
Glass gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars?
You're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
You're gone already.
Glass gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars?
You're way off.
to
Forget
the
it.
perilous fight. I'm off.
Andrew Perloff, he's got an ankle that's tricky. Milky white, it hurts, sometimes it's quite picky. Bug bites here and there, make it itch and twitch. Got him looking like he's doing a funny little hitch. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every bug in town. Mosquitoes have a party, won't leave him alone now. Red and bumpy, itching all night long. Andrew's ankle's got a bitey little song. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. His ankle's like a magnet for every bug in town. Mosquitoes have a party, won't leave him alone now. Red and bumpy, itching all night long. Andrew's ankle's got a bitey little song. Oh, Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. If you see him scratching, don't worry, he's alright. Just fending off the bug bites, they're pesky and they bite. It's got rhythm and soul, it's a star in the making. Andrew's ankle, the legend's awakening. Perloff's ankle, what a show you put on. Twisting and turning from dusk till dawn. We laugh and we cheer as you do your dance. Andrew's ankle, you never miss a chance. So here's to Perloff and his ankle so spry. Covered in bug bites, still reaching for the sky. We'll watch and we'll laugh every step that you take. Andrew's ankle, you're the best, for goodness sake.
$45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
A lot of controversy around here. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. No, not the sitcom bracket, but that is garnering a lot of controversy. You're welcome to go vote. Right now, the Simpsons region is live, the second round. But no, the controversy, Perloff, has been this top 10 quarterback list that was put out by ESPN, but it wasn't just like ESPN, like talking heads who made this. It wasn't Stephen A. Smith or whatever. This was Jeremy Fowler, who's a reporter who basically canvasses the entire league. So we're talking about executives. We're talking about coaches. We're talking about people who theoretically know what they're doing when it comes to every position group, and they do it for all the big position groups. And for quarterback, the top 10 list was intriguing for a few reasons. We talked about earlier that Brock Purdy was left off the list, which we both thought was a snub. But also that Dak Prescott made the list at 10. And the question that I have about Dak Prescott making this list is generally if a team has a quarterback that is thought to be a top 10 quarterback, why is the team messing around with whether or not they want this player back, right? Like, let's just distill this to the most obvious. You have a top 10 quarterback, or at least by the consensus of the league, you have a top 10 quarterback. Why is there any question about his future in Dallas?
Well, I think, they're top 10, but a lot of these guys are top 10 have questionable futures with their team because of the price tag. If you pay $60 million for Dak Prescott, you're not going to be able to build a good team around him. So there's a lot of incentive to start over because he can only get you so far because he hasn't won the play. We all know with Dak, it's the postseason failures. If you had regular season Dak, you would never get rid of him. But a lot of guys on here too, like Stafford's the same way. They'll probably get rid of him. Like you get old and expensive. That's why you would get rid of it. Even if you're top 10, that doesn't guarantee anything. If you're going to pay $60 million, then you're just not building a good enough team. So you kind of have to start over, right? That's the thinking.
Well, I always think that it's tough because what's true and what's not true. It's separating the fact and fiction of how you can structure contracts so that you can actually make this doable. You can make it palatable so that you can actually have Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. So you actually can make all of this work. That takes some creative cap gymnastics for sure. I don't think it's totally out of the question. Like the Cowboys having this massive cap hit on Dak this season, the $60 million cap hit, that's their own fault. They could have come up with a different way to structure this, the contract so that it wouldn't be so punitive on them this year. That is a design of the nerds in the front office or the people in the front office who make these decisions. I'm just saying, like, think about it. If you're a fan of a team who doesn't have a quarterback who's even close to sniffing this list, right? You feel what? You feel probably pretty hopeless, right? Or you feel like, what?
Well, yeah, go ahead. But you feel like maybe the answer's on the horizon, right? A little bit.
Okay,
but you're saying hopeless.
Well, I mean, you're that could be also the team kind of stringing you along. You know, you don't want to be somebody who roots for a team that's in quarterback hell. And quarterback hell is, to me, not paying the quarterback. That's not what gets you into quarterback hell. What gets you into it is that you don't have one. Like, I'm thinking about, what life could be like for the Dallas Cowboys if they don't get something done with Dak Prescott. To me, that is not something I want to entertain because you're not going to be bad enough to be picking super high in the draft to give you that aforementioned hope, like, hey, something on the horizon is better. Right. And to think you're going to go from Tony Romo to Dak Prescott to have this, let's call it what it is, luck of finding these guys who are undrafted like Romo or a late round pick like Dak Prescott. That's not a strategy. That's like you got real lucky back to back here that you had two diamonds in the rough and Dak played in the SEC, so I get it. But you had two guys who no one really was looking at as big draft picks, and you have gotten all this out of them. Like, I don't think you can just say, oh, we'll find our next franchise quarterback in the fourth round because we're good at this.
Yeah, your general principle, though, about you could just find a way to make the money. Like, basically, when a quarterback gets expensive, your offense always takes a step back. It started with Drew Brees famously in New Orleans. You could go through the list. Once they paid him, Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron Rodgers took every penny. Then they had Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson as his 1 and 2 receivers. Basically, even Kansas City's, obviously, their offense has come back significantly in 2 years because they couldn't afford. Once they paid Mahomes, they couldn't pay Tyreek Hill, so they took a step back. Everybody takes a step back. Kids,
did they take a step back? They've won huge. 2 Super Bowls.
I think their offense fell by 30%
last year.
They've
won 2 Super Bowls. So
right, they put
the
all the money.
But smart.
But basically, they went into young defensive players to win that Super Bowl. So they redefined their team. But I do think they definitely took they had to get rid of Tyreek Hill. They took a huge step back offensively. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just pay Dak Prescott and not pay the price. Like, you're gonna hurt your team somewhere. Josh Allen, honestly, like they're really like they couldn't keep Stephon Diggs. They couldn't pay him. Like there's a lot of.
I think there's a little more going on there, but yeah.
Well, look at his receivers. I mean, like
yeah.
Are they one of the top 3 cheapest receiver room in the league? I just don't think you could pay $50 million to have this great team around. So even if you are top 10, you're expensive.
Okay, but
you're old.
We're talking about Dak Prescott made this ESPN list of front office people and coaches in the NFL ranking the top 10 quarterbacks, and he's number 10 on the list. And so the idea that the Cowboys have a consensus top 10 quarterback, but yet are being murky about his future, maybe dragging their feet on a contract extension, like who gives up on a top 10 quarterback, even if you have not gotten to the promised land yet? Like how much of that, some of it's on Dak for sure, but not all of it. And so are you really going to turn your back on a top 10 quarterback for the unknown? And here's what I'd say about team building. I'd rather have a cheaper receiver room, and I feel like you'd agree with me on this. I'd rather have a cheaper receiver room than no QB. Like everything starts with a quarterback in the NFL. That's like the most obvious thing.
I'd rather have no QB than be stuck paying for a QB who can only get me so far.
Okay, would you rather have Davante Adams situation where he's a high-paid wide receiver with no quarterback? I don't like that either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the Raiders should draft a quarterback. I think they should have traded up for Penix this year. But that's besides the point. But you said you wouldn't have a top 10 quarterback. I'm telling you right now, the Rams are going to probably move on from Matthew Stafford, who's number 5. And the Jets will definitely have to move on from Aaron Rodgers
being on this list was a little bit of a lifetime achievement award.
You got 3 out of 10 guys on this list technically are barely holding on. I think once you're old and expensive, I don't care where you are on this list, unless you're like super elite, you become problematic. And that's what Dak is getting old and expensive.
Okay, so you mentioned Stafford a couple of times. We're talking about Dak Prescott, and you're welcome to weigh in at 855-212-4227. A consensus top 10 quarterback. Is this someone the Cowboys should be looking to move on from? Because it kind of seems like it's trending that way. You mentioned Stafford. At some point, they're going to have to get rid of him. He has mentioned that he does want to redo his contract. But here's what they say. This is what a high-ranking official with the NFL team told Jeremy Fowler. Matthew Stafford, he elevates the play of those around him. Puka Nacua is a good player, but he's not the same guy without Stafford. He helps those guys reach their potential. He also says the longer Stafford plays alongside McVay, the more his legacy mushrooms. And he's saying McVay's legacy mushrooms. Stafford in 2021 came to LA. The Rams went 12-5 and won the Super Bowl. He missed 9 games in 2022 with injury. The Rams missed the playoffs. 2023, he missed only 2 games. The Rams are back in the playoffs despite what was supposed to be a mini rebuild. I mean, Stafford deserves to be on this list. I'm not so sure they're trying to get rid of him right away.
Well, if I'm them, I would, because he's going to be, 36? So he wants a new... I mean, he really wants to be tied to the franchise for 3 or 4 years. So you're going to be paying $45 million, $50 million for Matthew Stafford at 38. I'm not sure that's where the Rams want to go. Why? You have Sean McVay.
Okay, so
do you need Matthew Stafford? Like, you can bring in a young, cheap guy and build him with McVay. And I'm not sure the Rams are going to want to go the old quarterback route.
So this discussion started with the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll keep it there because Dak also is 30. You know, he's not 36.
Yeah, but he won't run
Matthew
anymore.
Stafford.
He's definitely he can't move the way he used to. So if they do a new deal, what is it, 4 years a minimum? Like, is he going to play well into his 30s? He's got major injuries.
He's coming off the best statistical season he's ever had.
Yeah,
realize,
30,
right?
But that's going to go down. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, it's getting better for Dak.
And this to me it seems a little crazy. Like when if an alien landed on Earth and they're like, "What's up with your football team?" It's like, "Well, we've got a top 10 quarterback, but we're not sure we want to keep him."
Don't you remember February? Everybody was out on Dak. The entire country was. All of Dallas was. Big Dave was like, come on, let's move on. Our caller who's a Cowboys fan, yeah. I'm telling you, yeah, I mean, if they lose again in the wild card, then forget it. Then it's just over. And the truth is, they might not even make the wild card this year. They're definitely taking a step back from last year, personnel-wise.
So it was a horrible game against the Packers. A lot of fingers to be pointed, certainly some at Dak Prescott, no doubt about it. But also there's a little silver lining stuff here that I think, let's not miss the forest through the trees. You went from one offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore to Mike McCarthy, and Dak Prescott got better. So I'm no fan of McCarthy. I thought he was going to get fired after that Packers debacle. However, they've kept him. He's a lame duck guy. They've kept him, and he's playing out his contract this year. What makes you think, could Dak actually have another level to go here? Again, this was year 1 with McCarthy, and he was an MVP candidate. What do you think year 2 with McCarthy could be? It could be better, guys. Like, we're not leaving any room that this could actually get better, and I think that's a mistake. It's a mistake. Everyone's burned by all the postseason failures, and I get it. I do. But let's not pretend like this is some total train wreck of an organization. They lost a bad playoff game at home.
But do you think they're better or worse on paper than last year?
I think they're the same. And
Really?
so that,
I mean,
I guess,
they-
means worse. But they're the same. And they get
revamped their-
Trayvon Diggs back this year, hopefully from
Yeah.
injury. So that makes the defense better.
I don't know. I mean, it feels like there's a lot of change. Like they're revamping their offensive line. They don't really have a running back. That seems to be a factor. And this is a team that relies on having a strong run game.
Yep.
Well, actually, McCarthy doesn't really like to run, but generally they lost some receivers. I mean, like Gallup's gone, right? So I don't know. Like they definitely didn't do anything to improve. You look at that line, that roster, it just seems just a touch less scary than last year. I know Tyron Smith's always hurt. That's what you're going to tell me, but still, I mean, you can't be like, oh, well, we're definitely solved our left tackle when we lost the best left tackle the last 20 years.
I know, but see, you know what? The one thing I'll say, and I think even the most disenfranchised, ticked off Cowboy fan would have to get behind me on this one. They know how to build an offensive line. That's one where you might just have to say, we trust you. I think they know. And listen, to be honest, the Jets brought in Tyron Smith, and they basically made it this all incentive-laden contract. This was not like Trent Williams when he left Washington and was out, to go to San Francisco. Like, everyone knew what that was about. This was not a massive contract. It made me think there were not a lot of bidders.
Well, yeah, he's old and he's injury prone. But that being said, like, who's starting at left tackle? Can you even tell me that for sure?
Isn't it Tyler Smith? I don't know.
No, they said Guyton might be the front runner.
Don't you think don't you think the Cowboys have earned the benefit of the doubt when it comes to offensive line? They've had a good one basically since the 90s.
I don't know. Last year, it felt like when guys were going in and out, like it didn't feel great last year. No,
But Dak had an MVP season. How could you say that? Like, clearly the offensive line was doing their job. Because if he was under constant pressure, he would not put up the numbers he was putting up.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have a great first half against the Niners. I didn't think it just didn't feel the same. It felt like the run game was harder to get going last year a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I know
Pollard was a major disappointment. I mean, there's no other way to put it, right?
Well, but the run game is all about the offensive line, right? It's much more about the offensive line than the running back. I don't know. I just feel like they're a little bit worse. They definitely didn't add anybody. Like, you can't give me that. Like, Jalen Tolbert's their number 3 wide receiver. And Brandon Cooks, to me, was a disappointment. Like, everyone knows they're going to CeeDee Lamb every play, and he's miserable. It just doesn't feel great to me.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Braden is in Colorado. What's up, Braden?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're excellent. What's on your mind?
Yeah, just wanted to weigh in on the Dak debate you guys are talking about as far as moving on from a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one thing real quick. Maggie, your point on, as a Cowboy fan myself, there's one thing that no matter how frustrating it may be that you cannot doubt or question when it comes to the Cowboys, and that's the ability to have a formidable offensive line that will keep you in every ball game no matter what. I can remember one game where offensive line play was so bad that it cost you, the ability to be competitive, and that was against Atlanta when Tyron Smith went out and didn't have any backup plan for him at the time. So, look, as far as not top 10 quarterback, I agree with Maggie. Like, you can't just move on because, for whatever reason, for Perloff's, reasons of cost and money and all those things. Like, you have a top 10 quarterback, you've got a puncher's chance. And anybody that doesn't have a top 10 quarterback is looking to figure out how they can get one. And to be honest with you, I think some people think that, the success of a season or not, or maybe their Super Bowl is if you stayed under the cap and not spent a bunch of money. But, the whole point of this thing is to win football games and win championships, and anything in the pursuit of that is the goal, not contracts, not what it looks like 6 years down the road. There's always the ability to make moves and make changes and be able to, get that fixed as you go. But you got to be in the fight.
Wait, Brandon, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Cowboys are as good this year as they were last year? Better, same?
I think on paper they're not as talented, but you've seen what arguably having the most talented roster in the NFL twice in the last 5 years gets you as well. There's a lot more to the success of a team than just talent on paper, and I think they bring back one of the best offenses in football with an offensive line that I think will be better, and BB moving over to center and gives you some flexibility on the ends. And I think the offense will be just as good, if not better.
Wait, who's moving over to center?
I think BB, who we drafted from Kansas State,
Cooper BB, yeah.
Yep, I think he's going to be day one starter at center. I think Tyler Smith's going to stay at left guard. He's the next one, especially in those that ESPN article you guys referenced about the quarterbacks and things like that. They did one interior offensive lineman. Zach Martin's still the number one interior offensive lineman, and who they're saying is next is Tyler Smith. So that kind of proves the point about the one thing you don't worry about with the Cowboys is offensive line. So,
Braden, I'm with you, obviously, and thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate your perspective. I think his point about the quarterbacks is just I think this was the best thing that Braden said, which is if you have a top 10 quarterback, you know that they're going to be expensive. You kind of understand it, and if you don't, you're in pursuit of one, and that's what you're hoping for, and you'll do anything you can to get a top 10 quarterback. So the Cowboys have one, and at least by the consensus of the rest of the league.
Yeah, listen, I like Dak more than most people, I think, but still, like, to call him like this is like a no-brainer that you're continuing with Dak. What do you think happens if they lose again? If they don't make the playoffs or lose in the wild card, like McCarthy's gone, then you're starting with a new coach and an older, expensive quarterback. It feels like you're going to be stuck in limbo forever.
Adrian's our pal in Maryland. What's up, Adrian? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Maggie and Perloff? How you guys doing? Hey, this is my thought. Dak's in that Flacco year. That do it and you get paid. That's kind of what kind of years he's in.
Yeah.
They're gonna pay CD. Everybody's talking about CD. They'll pay CD. CD is the first option they need to do, and they'll pay him. They'll get Dak's contract done. I believe probably at the end of the year, maybe, but something. And let's not forget, the defense was not well against that Packers game.
Yeah.
In that Packers game, it was not. Their game plan was terrible. They played man all year, and they come into a Packers game and they start playing zone. That's why there are so many blown coverages. Those guys just weren't used to playing zone because they played man all year. Maggie, got one more thing. How about Bronny James, huh?
You know what, Adrian? Oh no.
2 points last night.
2 points, and he still hasn't hit a 3. Now we're in multiple cities of summer league. He was in California, now he's in Vegas. Wherever they were they were in Sacramento first, and now they're in Vegas, and he still hasn't hit a 3. Adrian, oh my goodness,
he's averaging 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes a game, and probably because of that 2 points last night, I think he's at about 3 points now.
Oh man!
Did you guys watch last night?
I did not watch it. Adrian, thanks so much for the call, dude.
I'll tell you one thing. He's not sort. He is athletic. He jumped up with this one time to block it was a pass shot. Like he's got all the athleticism for a 6'1" guy. He's just a 6'1" 2 guard. He's
Did
terrible.
he have the 40-inch vertical or something? Like 42?
I mean, oh my God, you see it. Like he is as fast. He's as strong, fast, and jumping as high as any 6'1" guy who's coming into the league. Like he fits physically fine. It's just he doesn't seem to know how to like score at this level.
Okay, well maybe he'll figure that part out.
Isn't that the first thing you need to do though if you're a guard? Like
how sad would it be though? Like you're saying he's so athletic.
He's really fast and he can really jump.
Okay, imagine if LeBron James is your dad and you didn't have any athleticism. You'd have to be like, God, why?
Well, but
curses. What is going on? Like, shouldn't you, right?
Well, Jordan's kids were slow. You ever see Jeffrey Jordan play? Like he was not built like Michael at all.
Yeah, and it feels unfair probably if you're their kid.
Bronny has some of that athleticism. Like he has he's got to go to the G League, right? There's no doubt about it. Whatever their plan is, he has to play in the G League. I don't get. He's 6'1" and he never doesn't bring the ball up. What's up with that? He did the first 2 plays of the game, but then he didn't bring it up again.
But JJ Redick's not the coach, so right? He's not coaching their summer league team.
I just don't. I don't think they think he can take the ball up.
Well, he's not a point guard. They say that.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like you have to be a point guard at 6'1".
Maybe his ball handling skills aren't good enough.
How can you be that at 6'1"? Anyway, he's so raw. It's crazy. He does have really long arms. He's really fast. Can jump really high. He has no chance. But Dalton Connect's fun to watch.
Yeah, I saw he was very efficient. Was it like 17 points, I think, on like 9 of 11 shooting?
I mean, who knows? I watched Reed Shepherd last night, too. Oh, he is fun. Oh, man.
You were doubting him.
No, I still doubt him. I don't know how at that height he's going to get a shot off in the NBA. But, man, he's got a – can I do it? Can I do the comp? He's got so much Jimmer Fredette in him. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, right. 2 undersized white guys. Yeah.
With perfect shooting form. Let's go.
We should know better than to get Perloff started on Summer League at the end of the
That's
segment.
Adrian's
We can't
fault.
do it. Yeah, I know. Adrian, we took the bait.
I watched Sixers too. I could give a full report on in the break.
Nobody loves the preseason like my friend Andrew Perloff. Okay. This all started with a Dak Prescott conversation. Top 10 quarterback consensus by league experts. So should the Cowboys be looking to get rid of him? Got top 10 QB on your hands. 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in on that. We are on our affiliates nationwide. We love you, Infinity Sports Radio affiliates. Also, SiriusXM channel 158. We are streaming live 3 different places. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, and right now on X at Maggie Gray. You can come and watch the show. Coming up next, we check in on the SEC Media Days, and could we be expecting a new member of the SEC anytime soon? It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Lottie, 5 days off in a meet up a Lottie, 5 days off in a row, but his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and 3-point shots, glorious lad, bogus waves. He's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio, can't believe his eyes. But Bogus stuck at home, his heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall, but it's Bogus left behind, feeling 10 feet tall, a loser in his own right. Can't catch a break, road trip dream shattered. For goodness sake, for goodness sake, Bogus cruising highways, hilarity atop San Antonio shining. The city's calling their names, but Bogus sitting home, stuck playing life's cruel games. Bogus waves, he's got the road trip blues left behind, feeling. Peter Blatty's got something to say about Tom Brady and a roast.
Andrew Bogus high on display.
Bogus waves, Bogus weeps. He's got the road trip blues. Andrew Bogus, lost in the fog of golf. Bogus can't see his way. People out his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. In a kitchen dark with shadows long, Andrew Perloff sings his eerie song with a cauldron bubbling and a wicked gleam. He's cooking up a devilish dream. Andrew Perloff, the spooky chef king, with devilish ideas that make nightmares sing. Bull's testicles, a sinister feast. In his haunted kitchen, he's the culinary beast. He starts with a flame, burning so bright, casting spooky shadows in the dead of night, slicing and dicing with a sinister flair. Bull's testicles, he He's preparing with care.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Peter Bellotti loves Wendy's bacon treats. He dances with joy every time he eats. Crispy strips of happiness, that's no lie. Peter's and bacon, heaven reaching for the sky. Wendy's bacon makes
Break
Peter's.
ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. SEC Media Days are going on. It's going to get interesting. The coaches start talking. So yesterday, Commissioner Greg Sankey got to the mic. I find him slightly terrifying because he feels like the mastermind of everything. I feel like he's secretly running college football. I think that's probably not. I mean, that sounds like hyperbole.
I don't know if it's a secret.
Yeah, right. That's a good exactly. It's either him or Paul Finebaum, one of the two. So what? Let's go over some of the things Sankey said yesterday, specifically about the SEC and continuing realignment. I don't know what to make of this, Maggie.
Yeah, he said he's not going to be out there recruiting schools now to come to the SEC.
We're focused on our 16. I've said before at Media Days, I'm not a recruiter. My job is to make sure we meet the standard of excellence that we have for ourselves on a daily basis. That attracts interest.
Okay, I mean, maybe we're kind of splitting hairs here. I don't, if I'm part of the SEC, I don't want to see the commissioner come out and say, I'm not a recruiter. That's not the growth mindset that you want. You know, I think teams, I don't think you're going to have to put on like a hard sell for anyone to join the SEC outside of maybe Notre Dame, which isn't really a fit. But because they're independent, they've got their own TV contracts and all that stuff. I think people will willingly go. I don't think that you need to be out there recruiting. Right. I get it, but you also don't want to be, you know, this is not going anywhere. You added Texas and Oklahoma this past season. Like, you got to keep growing. There's no doubt. Like, you can stay at 16 for now, and that's nice and all well and good to say, but that can't be where it ends.
Yeah, but he said we're at 16 now, and we're going to be at 16 tomorrow or something to that effect. Like, I don't think there was no point where he actually said, like, I won't take Clemson and Florida State. Like, I feel like he was just saying the politically correct thing. And he doesn't, you're absolutely right, though. He doesn't need to recruit. So there's no downside in him saying this. Everyone knows they're the leader on the block right now. Like, everyone knows they're the SEC. They definitely don't need to recruit. If Clemson can find a way to win their lawsuit and get out of the ACC, obviously, the SEC is their number one choice by a mile. They don't want to go to the Big Ten or the Big 12. So, but they don't need to recruit. There's no downside in this statement. He might also, as we were talking on our call last night, he has some legal reasons to say this. There's a lot of lawsuits going on out there. But yeah, who cares? There's a growth mindset. You're the SEC. You don't have to worry about anything. Everybody wants to come to you.
Here's more on Sankey on the importance of keeping the latest expansion of the SEC limited to the Southeast.
We know who we are. In the Southeastern Conference, we're the one conference at this level where the name still means something. The southeastern part of the United States, where when we expanded, we actually restored historic rivalries while adding only 100 miles to the longest campus-to-campus trip our student athletes will experience.
Yeah, I mean, is there any other way to take that except for a dig at the Big Ten? I don't know how else. First of all, do we consider Texas to be in the Southeast?
Kinda. I mean, it's in the South. It's contiguous.
Okay. But this has definitely got to be a swipe at the Big Ten. And, you know, the Big Ten basically just taking advantage of and maybe helping to usher along the dissolving of the Pac-12 with the idea that Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA all joining the Big Ten really doesn't make a lot of geographic sense. But, I mean, if I'm the Big Ten, I don't know why I had to take any swipes from the SEC. I'm doing what I need to do to compete with the SEC, right?
I don't know. You're super lame. You had to bring in all these West Coast schools. It's kind of weak.
What's lame about it?
USC playing Maryland in volleyball, like this is going to be the lamest thing ever. In fact, to the point, like they've tried this before, where you go west to east, and these conferences have fallen apart. I think this is going to feel not really like a conference as much as a random collection of teams.
Well, why don't we just keep it on football for now? Because
yeah,
honestly,
even in football too. I think Oregon and Iowa is not going to be the rivalry that people think.
Okay, but you're not interested in seeing Ohio State and Oregon, or Michigan and Washington, or those teams? I think that's cool. I'm not gonna like take the Big Ten down a peg because they took advantage of an opportunity.
Okay, take out Ohio State and Michigan. Like Washington, I don't think it's going to be a thing anymore. So yeah, there are a lot of like Washington, Illinois. Like no, I don't feel like the greatness of college football, the rivalries and the conferences. Like no, this feels artificial. It doesn't feel like. I honestly no. Seeing Oregon play Minnesota, no, that does nothing for me.
Okay, but I mean, it's not like the SEC is without any bottom feeders. You're not tuning into every Vanderbilt game.
Right, but SEC does at least have that history, like tradition, rivalry. And like he is right. Every state, he talks about all the states touch each other. Even Texas, of course, is geographically aligned with LSU. Of course, it's an Alabama. Like if you're in Alabama, you're a Cowboy fan. Like there's an obvious connection. There's total value in that. I mean, I understand it's an appropriate dig at Big Ten. I think like the Big Ten. Even the Big Ten doesn't want it. They don't want to have a team in California and a team in Maryland. This is not by design. This is just sort of the way it fell.
Okay, but I just don't understand why it would be a negative on the Big Ten.
Because it's just weak. It feels like you're not really a conference. You're just a conference of convenience. Not like an old let's get we're a conference. We're all rivals. We all have a reason to be playing each other. And also too, it's just like. It makes the academics of the whole thing look like a joke. And
you bringing up academics is
just like
who would ever bring academics into this conversation?
But like their volleyball teams are going to have to play each other. I know there's talk about
to football. Volleyball,
no, but you can't keep it to football because the whole Big Ten is playing each other. Like,
if this was about volleyball, Nebraska would be the most important thing. And where are they? In the Big Ten. So we don't have to talk about volleyball.
No,
You're talking about the student athletes traveling. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm saying, yeah, exactly. Like the fact that they need to bring this together for football means that all these athletes and all these sports have to travel across the country and miss class. That's definitely a big factor. It's no. You think everyone's like, man, like let's design a conference and let's have Oregon and Rutgers be in the same conference.
I don't think anyone was doing it by design, but they were taking advantage of an opportunity. And again, I hate to do this, and I know this doesn't make a lot of sense for Stanford and to be in the ACC. I get that these cross country trips are not ideal, but let's just keep it to a football conversation because that's what's driving this thing. And I feel bad about the collateral damage there of students missing classes, but this is not the place to have the students missing classes conversation. We're talking Greg Sankey is the commissioner of the SEC taking a swipe at Big Ten football. He's not taking a swipe at Big Ten swimming.
Well,
don't you think so?
No. I mean, I think like it's all part of the same stew. Like, yeah, like you're saying like bringing along all those other sports means nothing. This is not just about football. I think he's saying like, yeah, like this is a whole conversation. He talked a lot about like being close. Yeah, he's not just talking about football. And also, too, like Stanford being the ACC, like you don't think that's lame?
Oh, it's ridiculous. But what choice did people have? It's not like there were these great options out there. And it's like you're killing the schools for taking advantage of an opportunity. Were they just supposed to sink into the ocean? Like I understand. What were the Pac-12 schools supposed to do? Join the Mountain West? Why wouldn't they join the Big Ten? It's way more money, way more revenue from the TV and everything.
But it's so much cooler. The SEC gets to keep it regional. Like they're definitely going to stay on top of the mountain. Like. Yeah, I mean, well, unless you go to two conferences, which is nothing, but like, yeah, I mean, this is like SEC, I think, takes a stronger grip on the top conference because they've been able to do this. Bringing in Texas, I mean, there's no doubt you might have, last year the Pac-12 was awesome. The Big Ten has a couple schools, but the SEC feels more in charge than ever. I mean, look at it, like, just because they brought in Oklahoma, Texas. Like now, like, I don't even know who's competing. Like, Big Ten is competing with USC, but not really. I mean, like you go like AD powerhouse organizations. I think if you add Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, forget it. Like
That could happen.
They don't even need to. They're still way superior.
We're not sure how far down the road. Peter Schwartz is here. He's got headlines. Hello.
Good morning. Dodgers outfielder Teoscar Hernandez won the home run derby in Arlington last night. An exciting finish as he edges out Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. in the final 14-13. Hernandez became the first Dodger to win home run derby, and he received some advice from Shohei Ohtani.
He said to hit the ball to left center, to not pull it, because I had a better chance because the way my swing is to go over there. It's far, but he said it's better for you.
And I guess the advice worked out.
How in the history of the Dodgers, no one's won the home run derby?
No.
Well, when they start doing the home run derby again?
85 or something?
Griffey.
Was it before then?
Just before Griffey? When Griffey hit it in Baltimore? Was that the first one?
Let's
no,
see.
it was before that, right?
85.
85.
They've been doing one every year since 85?
Allegedly. I saw it the other day. That's why I had 85 in my head.
I don't remember it going back that far.
Mm-hmm. According to the internet.
Yeah. So no Dodger had ever won it until Teoscar Hernandez last night. Tonight, of course, is the All-Star Game, National League against the American League. American League manager Bruce Bochy will give the ball to Corbin Burns of the Orioles.
This is his fourth consecutive All-Star game. What he's done this year, Baltimore, they're leading their division. He's a big reason for that. So, in my mind, it's just his time. It's his time to start an All-Star game. That's why I chose him.
And the National League starter is Paul Skeens, the rookie for the Pirates. First pitch, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Juan Soto, the Yankees outfielder, in the starting lineup for the American League. He will be a pending free agent after the season. He was asked yesterday if he's thinking about that.
I try to let that to Scott. I just try to focus in my games and everything. I haven't even think about where it's going to be a good place. I just thinking about where I'm at right now and what I want to do where I'm at.
Scott, of course, is his agent, Scott Boras. Soto was also asked if how the Yankees do the rest of this season will affect his decision.
I don't know if it's going to affect any of my decision. Whenever we're there, we're going to sit down and look around. But right now, I hope to win another championship with the Yankees. We're trying to do our best, and that's what we focus on.
I think he's gone.
Well, so here's a question. If they win the World Series, is he more likely to stay or go? Because you could say, listen, he's now won 2 World Series, 2 different places. He could really just go for the money and not have to think about winning. Like his legacy is set.
I don't think winning is going to play a role at all. I think he's just going to, whoever gives him the most money is where he's going to go. And I don't think the Yankees are going to do it.
You know what we should do as maybe something fun? Let's all write down on a piece of paper where we think Juan Soto is going to sign, fold it up, put it in a hat, put it away. See who gets it.
Okay.
Well, and when this is a long show bet, if you will, and see who's actually right, because you got to call it today at the All-Star break and July.
Do we say what it?
16.
Do we say it, or we just write it down? It's going to be a secret.
I think maybe secret. Put your name on it.
Okay.
Like where and your name. Obviously, you don't think the Yankees.
No.
Of which you were a
not
Yankee
far.
fan.
But not far from there.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh, Mets.
Yeah.
So wait, do the big guns want him? Like the Dodgers and the Rangers want him, or no?
I'm sure anybody would want them. It's who's going to give them the most money.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't want the deferred.
It's a billionaire.
He doesn't want the deferred stuff because isn't that what they were basically offering in Washington? And he said no.
Yeah.
So no Shohei $700 million, but I'll get you next Tuesday.
Nope. He's going to go. Some very aggressive owner with a lot of money is going to offer him the most money, and that's where he's going to go.
Yeah, but the Mets aren't the only team with money. Texas has money. The Giants have money. Obviously, the Dodgers.
Cubs
always come up with money.
They
can.
That's
wait,
gut feeling.
The Cubs go like in and out.
In and out.
Yeah.
The San Francisco Giants, I'd worry about.
You would worry about the Giants?
Yeah.
Well, they never get anybody, though.
Well, but they're putting the money out.
They couldn't get Arson Judge locked up. So
they had him.
They had
Close.
him.
Okay, well, I'll write it down on a hat and put your name on it and where you think he's going to be, and then we'll put it away. We'll see if we're all right.
The United States Olympics men's basketball team had a friendly yesterday. They beat Australia 98-92. Anthony Davis had 17 points, 14 rebounds. From the NBA, Knicks owner James Dolan sent the letter to the NBA's Board of Governors yesterday criticizing the league's new television deal, saying that it renders the league's regional sports networks unviable.
Not shocking that the person who's got the most valuable franchise doesn't want to share it with the teams who have less valuable franchises.
And
essentially the Cliff Notes.
And has a very valuable regional sports network.
Yep.
So
that actually, I know obviously the history with Dolan, but everything he said made perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
From
He's
his
not
point of
wrong.
view.
He's not wrong.
Right. Exactly. Like his comment says, like, by the way, like I don't know if like he might be right. Like, why should the Knicks carry all the other teams?
Well, this is what happens with revenue sharing.
Yeah.
And so this is the one point, again, Dolan and I, there's no love lost there. But one part I also did agree with him about this letter is, why does the league itself need 5% of the total?
6%. The league did not want that coming out. That was like, uh-oh.
So the league itself, like the NBA headquarters, are going to get what was the final? It was like $1 billion.
$8 billion, I think.
$8 billion. I thought I saw 8
for the league office.
Yeah,
what in the world do they need 8? That's the GDP of a small country. What does the league office need that for?
It's called flat out corruption, right? I mean, like there's no two ways about that.
So my question is, when he says that the regional sports networks, and in his case, he's talking about MSG, being unviable. Now, I don't know this. Maybe I should, but does the new TV deal put more games exclusively on network TV and takes games away from MSG?
Streaming, probably.
Well, I did notice there's a national game every night on some streaming channel.
Yep.
Which nobody will watch. But
so
that's
if there's a game on the streaming channel, it can't be shown on regional. That's going to be an exclusive. It's like those ESPN Plus hockey games.
Well, I don't know, because sometimes you're able to say, you'll go to like a stream or something, and they'll say you can't watch this here. You've got to watch it on your regional network. I don't know. I have to read the fine print of that.
Yeah, that's what I would wonder. Like if he's and he would be right. Like if you're going to take, if you already got games on ABC and you already got games on Turner that are exclusive, now if you're going to take more games away from your own regional sports channel, then I would actually side with him, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
So, NFL. Browns running back Nick Chubb posted an Instagram video yesterday showing that he is now squatting 540 pounds. Now, that in of itself should not be a surprise, but what could you do 8 months after surgery for a torn ACL? Nick Chubb is now squatting 540 pounds.
54 pounds? That guy could do now. Wait, first of all, you take out that first part about injury. I can't squat anything. Can you?
No. I mean, I could train my whole life and I wouldn't sniff anything like that. These guys are freaks of nature.
Pounds.
Did you see the way the weight was bending the bar? It was insane. Yeah. He's crazy strong. That being said, do you actually draft him in fantasy because he squatted a lot? I was actually wondering in my head, does being able to squat a lot mean that you're going to be able to be awesome week one?
Means he's healthy, that's for sure.
Does it though? The squat, because that's the one movement where you go down with a lot of weight. Can you cut at full strength and be totally confident in all your cuts?
I mean, I think if you're confident with that much weight on the bar, well, who knows? 855-212-4227. Thank you, Peter Schwartz. Coming up, we get back to our breakdown of the AFC South. We are breaking that division down today, a division that used to be not that interesting and is now extremely interesting. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining.
Second views, scrolling, living life in 20-second views, scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, David's keeping score, YouTube's his love. He's begging for more, double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff started glow.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Chasing trends, days on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Dailies for ready to preach.
2 minutes remaining.
Preach it to preach. Living life in 20-second views, scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff.
I tune in, Maggie and Perloff from the cow, but it's just another show that's missing its style.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
When to foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch you wow. Try to run the game, but you just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no foul. Just step on a pal, make step.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff. We break down the AFC South today as we're working our way through each division before training camp opens next week. We talked about the Houston Texans. My take was that CJ Stroud has set the bar almost ridiculously impossibly high for the rest of the quarterbacks coming in. And lo and behold, we have 6 rookies who were taken in the first round. So good luck with all that. Also, my only negative, I think, would be, is it just too good to be true? This team is on such a crazy ascent. It was only 2 years ago that they seemed totally irrelevant, and now they feel top 5 at least at every position on the football
top
field.
10.
Well, I
top
mean,
5 is very rich.
if you break it down, I mean,
you can't. Well, top 5 is like a little ridiculous. If that's like all-time dream team. But yeah, they are ridiculously talented on paper.
They're loaded. So you have a thought about the Tennessee Titans. This is a team that intrigues you.
Oh my God. Has anybody done more this offseason than the Titans to fix everything that's wrong with them? So they brought in the Callahan team, Brian Callahan and his dad.
Yeah.
So they had the worst offensive line. The last 2 years, they've been ranked 32 out of PFF. But look at their offensive line. J.C. Latham, who they got in the first round, number 7 overall pick, and Peter Skoronski, who was out all last year, like kind of in and out because he had appendix, I think. So those guys, that's like an incredibly talented and young left side of the line. They got Lloyd Cushenberry. So their offensive line should go from 32 to like 12. I mean, because that the older Callahan is a monster on the offensive line.
Yep.
Then you have Will Levis. So you're giving Will Levis. Then his receiving core is absolutely insane. He's got Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd, Treylon Burks is his top 4.
Yeah.
That's top 10-ish. And then, okay, yes, you got rid of Derrick Henry. That's a big fear, obviously. There are games where he just took over. But you got Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears, who are kind of younger and more explosive than him. So offensively, you did everything. You're giving Will Levis everything you need to succeed. So at least they say, we want to see this guy with tools around him. What can he do? And at the very least, say what you want about Tennessee. They'll know about Will Levis after this year because you're giving him every chance to be good.
Right. The only thing I worry about is that this is a lot of pressure for a young quarterback. Levis is just going into his second year. When you do have this caliber of receiver around you, it's like, are you going to be able to keep everybody happy? You're going to be able to push the ball. I mean, he's got a hell of an arm, Will Levis. Are you going to be able to keep everybody happy? Or I guess that's basically my one question. Are you going to be able to feed everybody here and you're going to be able to deliver on this? And then, it's funny. I think Tennessee is going to be one of those teams that's kind of right there this entire season. This is going to turn into one of the most competitive divisions in the entire NFL. We talk about the quarterbacks in the AFC, and it's Mahomes, and it's Burrow, and it's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, C.J. Stroud is in this division. But we don't really talk about, I guess maybe Trevor Lawrence on the fringe, but it's not like a quarterback-first division. No. And yet, I think it's going to be an incredibly difficult division. I mean, this is sneaky, probably one of the most competitive divisions in the entire NFL.
Well, I think you have, if it plays out the way I think everyone...
Don't forget L'Jarius Sneed they added too on the defensive side.
Their defense and the fact that Jeffrey Simmons is still there, they've always been solid on defense. But the thing about this division is I think everyone views it as the Texans are probably going to win 10 or 11 or 12 games, and then everyone else is 7 or 8 wins. Or, I mean, I'll bet you the win total is right around 7 because the Titans are, when you say right there, you mean 8 and 9, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably on the fringe of getting a wild card spot.
Right. The Jags are probably, I think, they look like 8 and 9 to me. And then I think the Colts are definitely, they've been floating around 8 and 9. They were 9 and 8 last year. They'll probably be 8 and 9 this year. So I feel like you have no, it used to be a walkover division.
Yeah.
Now there's no walkovers. I do think the Texans are different, but I think, you can't add. I really like Callahan spread the ball around really well in Cincinnati. Nobody complained there.
Yep.
Yeah. So he was the OC the last 4 years. He knows how to get the ball around an offense. I don't think that receiver thing is going to be a problem. And also Will Levis can move a little bit. Feel like there's a lot to be positive about here. And the expectation, you say there's pressure. No one's going to be mad if they don't win 10 games. Everyone's going to be psyched to go 8 and 9. They'd be I think it's a very low bar there, which is probably a good thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, now this is the generous read, right? There is another read where it's all right, you added Calvin Ridley and you had DeAndre Hopkins. But, Tony Pollard's coming off of a down year. Maybe it's better with an offensive line. But again, he couldn't do much with the Cowboys. You have Sebastian Joseph Day, who I like, but he's now floated around a little bit. And, I guess there's maybe an alternate read that Brian Callahan isn't very good and that the front office isn't awesome.
Why would you think Brian Callahan would be good?
How do you know he's good?
Well...
Again, these are coordinators who are doing this for the first time.
Yeah, I feel like he feels like Zach Taylor light. He's this Kevin O'Connell. He's one of these, I don't even know if he's from the McVay or Shanahan tree, but I assume he is.
From his dad's tree?
I don't know. Is that the Gruden tree at some point? I'm not even sure. Yeah, maybe it's the West Coast tree. But regardless, he is every coach now. He's some 40-year-old offensive coordinator who comes in and he's going to run a competent offense. And I don't know. Maybe I'm a fool, but I tend to be positive about those offensive coaches coming in. He feels like the exact right guy there.
Well, the question is also, do we know if Will Levis can actually take a next step forward?
But now we'll find out. That's a great question. Yeah, and hey, they do lose Derrick Henry. That's when they won games, it's because Derrick Henry was plowing guys, so that won't be there.
So much to get to, including one of our friends is in line to stop by today. We'll tell you who it is next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Ton tons of controversy. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. What about? It's about this top 10 list of quarterbacks that was put out by ESPN, but it wasn't just their talking heads doing it like an opinion. It was NFL people, front office, coaches, the people who are supposed to know what they're talking about, Perloff. Well, let's pretend that they know what they're talking about. No, I think they do. And this was a composite of all of that. And the top 10 quarterbacks got released. There's no shock that Patrick Mahomes is number 1, Joe Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3, Lamar Jackson 4, CJ Stroud 5. Now, what was interesting about number 8 on the list was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. Let's hit the music.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Being on top 10 list, despite the fact that he's coming off an Achilles at 40. Listen, is it maybe a bit of a Lifetime Achievement Award? It would appear that way, because should Aaron Rodgers really be on this list and not somebody like Brock Purdy, your guy Jalen Hurts, and some of the others who were given the honorable mention?
Yeah, I mean, he was at MVP of the league not too long ago. 2-time MVP in the 2020s. So, yeah, I mean, come on. We all know Aaron Rodgers when he's healthy and when he's, like, in sync with the offense, he's awesome. Like, nobody's doubting that, right? I guess your question is, at this age, does it make sense putting him on there?
Well,
it's funny. Like, yes, it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, like, nobody's like, yo, what's Aaron Rodgers doing there? Like, we know Aaron Rodgers is amazing.
Right, but again, this is going into 2024, and we haven't seen him. And then if you do want to go back to 2023, it wasn't awesome. And the blame was squarely on the shoulders of the young receivers. Squarely.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't throwing at anybody. It wasn't awesome, but even that, like, that was not awesome. I don't have the numbers in front of me. It wasn't even that bad, right? Like, he had a season, that was his terrible year. What was his total numbers? 26 touchdowns, 12 picks.
He hasn't thrown 12 picks since he threw 13 in 2008.
Still, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, his lowest season is like, whoa, that's pretty darn good. Like, 26 and 12 is an awesome ratio. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's saying that was a complete meltdown, was 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions is really good. I mean, how many? That's probably better than Josh Allen. Like, what was Mahomes last year? He was about the same thing.
Yeah, I guess I would just say that, the one thing about it, I think there was a little bit of an eye test, too. And I'm sure Green Bay Packer fans, if you're listening to us, and I know we're on in Milwaukee, that's for sure, and also Green Bay, I think that if you were watching that, you didn't think of 2022/23 season as a great Aaron Rodgers season. And again, it did get squarely on the shoulders of the wide receivers, and maybe that's true, although Jordan Love made these guys look pretty good at the end of last year. But I think that also some of that came back on Rodgers, which was, did you do enough to work with these young guys? Knowing that you had this young receiver core, and then essentially you had sort of everything in front of you in that final, that final game against Detroit, right? They finished 8-9 on the season, and they end up losing a home game to the Lions, which I think people were very disappointed. So,
well, I think they were really disappointed that those 2 MVP years he came up short in the postseason.
That too.
Remember, he was walking off in the cold against San Francisco. Now, I don't know that they were necessarily just disappointed in Rodgers. They were disappointing the whole team. But think about Aaron Rodgers. He is Brett Favre reincarnated, right? He leaves the Packers, goes to the Jets, just like Favre. Now, we thought Favre was probably toast at many points, and then he came back and went to Minnesota and absolutely destroyed it. Probably should have been MVP that year. Got lost in the NFC title game. Like, I think a lot of people think there's one more run for Aaron Rodgers. I think more people. I don't know about most people, but I think there definitely is the potential for one more run in this dude.
This year?
I mean, I think it could easily be this year. I think if he's out there and healthy, yeah. I mean, I think, again, like, if he throws 26 touchdowns and 12 picks for the Jets, you might as well start putting space for Lombardi in that building.
Yeah.
That's the best Jets season since Pennington in his prime. If he has a bad Aaron Rodgers season, that's going to be pretty good there.
Well, no doubt. I mean, the bars could be lower.
So, but I think
for quarterbacks.
If he's healthy, I think he'd still be pretty good. He doesn't have to do everything there. He's got a good running game. Like, I think it's important that Aaron Rodgers doesn't try and go out there and be 35-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I think he's just work with what he has, become kind of conservative. Yeah, of course. How do you feel? I feel like this could be a really good year.
I think it's a Super Bowl or bust year. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Oh, you don't think? Wait, in what sense? Like they can't make the conference championship game and keep everybody hired?
I mean, I think, but it's like they're so all in. Like, and if you're Rodgers, are you in it to make the conference championship? No, you're there to get a Lombardi trophy. He said it on the first day he got to the Jets facility. He said the Lombardi trophy is looking kind of lonely.
Yeah, but I think
he also said everyone's going to be gone if they don't, pull their weight this year.
Right, but that means winning a playoff game. I don't think that's Super Bowl or bust seems a little extreme. Like that's tough.
Well, I mean, look at what's floating around right now, right? The biggest rumor of the day is that Davante Adams could be headed there. Can we hear from Boomer Esiason, please, Pete? This is our pal Boomer from right down the hall. I got to be honest, when you hear things about the Jets from Boomer, you got to pay attention to this stuff.
I'm hearing that this is going to happen, if it does happen, somewhere in late August, early September.
Really?
Yeah, and the cap hit for him is $25 million.
Why would it take that long?
I'm not sure about why it would take that long, but Davante's never going to come out publicly and say, I want to leave the Raiders. But you do hear in this wide receiver program where he does this, I got to get out of here before I get killed. I mean, he says that, and that leads you to believe, leads the viewer to believe that he wants out of Oakland. But I don't see him saying that publicly. I don't see him going to the media and saying, get me out of here. I can see him saying to his agent, much like he did it to Green Bay, the same type of thing.
Yeah, I think with the difference, and that's Boomer Esiason, who is very plugged in, obviously, with the Jets and is watching this show Receiver like we all are, where you didn't know just how bad it had gotten behind the scenes, how frustrated Davante Adams was. And then you have the idea of why this could happen now, why didn't this happen in March? I think that there's probably an idea that he doesn't want to ask for a trade, as Boomer said. And is there a realization as you get maybe closer and closer to camp, where are we going if we're the Raiders? And would it not make sense to try to get some future draft capital? If this is not a winning season for us, or it's going to be a struggle just to have a winning record, you need a quarterback if you're the Raiders. Why wouldn't you try to load up the arsenal with as many draft picks as possible? And again, now that the show is out here, you don't think the tenor and tone of some questions at training camp have definitely changed since we last saw Davante Adams?
I don't know. I think there's a level of information in the NFL where everybody knew this about Davante Adams. Heck, you predicted he was asked for a trade last year. I mean, I think everyone knew, this team stinks. Aiden O'Connell's their quarterback, Davante Adams. I don't think necessarily you needed the documentary to know that. You're right. I do think it raises the temperature a little bit. But here's, think of the logistics of this. He's going to show up at training camp, and he's going to say something like, I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for O'Connell. Then they're just going to go through training camp or preseason. At the end of preseason, they're going to be like, oh, you're gone. Psych. Because I feel like once the narrative starts that he's there, he's going to embrace the team. Feels like it would make more sense to me to be a trade deadline move. Like, hey, try this out for a little bit. Like early September, we looked at it. There had been a lot of early September trades, but they were all holdouts, guys who weren't in camp.
Sure.
So I don't know. It feels like kind of an odd time. It feels like he's already laid his bed there. But made his bed? Made his bed.
Made his bed and laying in his bed?
Laying in his bed. He's in the bed in Vegas.
Very big, fancy bed.
I don't know. It just feels like, he's willing to roll with a bad quarterback because he did it last year. And maybe the All-Star break, whatever. The trade deadline, they'll trade him. But, the other thing, too, about this, if I'm the Raiders, heck yeah, I do it. But Jets are really going to offer a first-round pick at this point?
Yeah.
That seems terrifying.
I think that they will, because I think they're desperate. And honestly, I think the price might go up. See, if I'm the Jets, maybe I get this done for a 2 or 2 2s or something. If it's now, say the Jets get off to this great start and the Raiders don't. And then you're at the trade deadline. Yeah, and then Davante really wants to go to the Jets and really wants to go ring chasing here. Well, now the price just definitely went up.
Well, but then it's only 8 games. I'm not sure the price goes up because then you only get half a season of a 32-year-old receiver. Like, you're not getting if you get a first-round pick for that, then I don't understand. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you might get a better deal now. I don't. Here's the other part. This was last year where a lot of this, some of the frustration got out to the media, but some of it was able to be behind the scenes. I mean, you don't think people are looking for it now even more? And I don't think that Davante Adams would do anything to show up Antonio Pierce, and I do think there's a lot of respect there. But You don't think that now it's like every missed pass, everything, it's going to be even more under a microscope, I think, with Davante Adams.
But actually, think about the documentary. A lot of that stuff was at a podium. I think he was.
Some of it was when he said.
Yeah, like I just don't think we were paying attention to the Raiders because they were not a good team.
Well, now we are because we know that.
Are we? If
the Jets might want him. And if the Jets are off to a good start, Aaron Rodgers gets a lot of attention. All he has to do is say one thing on a Pat McAfee on a Tuesday, and it's going to set it'll be the storyline for the week.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Davante a lot. Actually, I'm thinking back at it, like he said a lot of things after games, like I'm not happy about my usage here, and they couldn't pry him out somebody couldn't pry him out last year, and I'm thinking too, if they open up the market, there are a lot of teams who need a receiver. The Jets just brought in Mike Williams, who's an old injury-prone receiver, and they have Garrett Wilson. Like, I think there are other teams who probably need him just as much. I guess the chemistry with Rodgers is a big deal.
Well, that's the big thing is you can do this as late as you need to because Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers can step onto a football field and be good. It's not this getting used to you and I've got to get your hand signals and all that stuff that Rodgers talking about is so important. I mean, Davante Adams knows that stuff in his sleep. Yeah, I mean,
there are a lot of contenders who were in the receiver market this offseason, right? Like your Bills definitely need a number one. The Cowboys desperately need somebody else. There are a lot of teams a lot of really high-end teams. The Ravens are on an eternal quest for, how about the Ravens? I mean, geez Louise. Does anybody need Davante Adams more than them?
855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. Davante Adams, do you think he's going to get traded to the Jets? Aaron Rodgers is really kind of, running things over in Florham Park, but I think his opinion is definitely weighted. Meanwhile, we've been talking about this show Receiver on Netflix. Did you see the announcement about a new sports movie that's going to be coming out?
No, what do you got?
How about this? I saw this from a website called Awful Announcing. It's going to be a comedy that's based on an offensive lineman, and the name of the movie is going to be called Thick, THICC. And it's about an offensive lineman. I believe this is the plot, Pearl. It's an offensive lineman who gets hurt and becomes a male model in the new, big bone division, I guess, of some modeling agency. Apparently, Apparently, this is a thing now with modeling agencies. You want men who are a little bigger. Like, we've seen this on the women's side. They call full-figured, all different body types represented.
Okay, gotcha.
So now it's like people who have bodies a little bit more like Jason Kelsey or something like that. These offensive lineman bodies are now, that's something for modeling agencies. That's the plot.
So it's not going to be like, look at it, was Matt Burke, right, who lost all his weight, got shredded, and wanted to go into modeling. Instead, veered towards politics, but that's another story. I thought he would drop all the weight. So you're saying he's going to be a husky model?
Yes, exactly.
That's more fun. Nobody wants to see a good-looking, in-shape guy. That's not funny.
So apparently this was also born out of the ESPN The Body issue, where they would highlight.
Does that thing still exist?
I have no idea. But they would highlight all different types of body types, I guess. This is called the IMG Models has a brawn division. It's male plus size models is what they're calling it.
All right, who's involved in this? You got any offensive linemen? Is this produced by Orlando Pace or something?
It's John Toth is a former NFL center. And rugby player Matt Workin. They both came from sports backgrounds. And it's Adam Devine from Workaholics and Sacha Baron Cohen. So he's got some heavy hitters in terms of comedy.
Wow. Well, Adam Devine, he's 5'3". He's not going to be the lineman. Now, if Sacha Baron Cohen put on weight to be a former offensive lineman, that would be the funniest thing I ever saw in my life.
Yeah, here's the quote from Deadline. You're so right. The film follows an offensive lineman who, after seeing a career-ending injury cut his professional football dream short, finds unexpected fame and fortune in the world of brawny male modeling.
Nice.
And it's called Thick. Pete, you in on that? Would you go see it?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, that's a hard no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to lie.
If it's on accidentally.
This does not interest you.
Oh.
Did you guys see that show Ballers with The Rock and Jay Glazer and all that? It was hard. It's hard to do offensive linemen on film because you need a genuinely big man to pull it off, and that big man has to be able to act. So I'm very curious about how they're going to do that.
Right. Who's the person you cast for this?
Yes. Yeah, it's hard. Like Blindside did well with the guy who played Michael Oher.
Right.
But even that, it's just hard to get a 300-pound guy. Like, that's going to be, I would hate to have to do the auditions for that because, like, you can't walk in the room if you're under 280.
Well, camera tricks. Tom Cruise looks tall sometimes on camera, and he's super short. But maybe you need, like, the Mountain or something from Game of Thrones.
There you go. But he didn't even get a line. He was such a bad actor. They didn't even let him speak.
I was also thinking, Ozempic is just so big, especially in Hollywood. Is anyone actually brawny anymore?
Yeah, that's a good point. Did you see the wrestling movie with Zac Efron where he played one of the Von Erich brothers?
Yeah.
Like, to get the size of that I had a real problem with the movie because the guy who played the bear, what's his name? Sorry. The actor who plays in the show The Bear. I can't remember his name. It's like Jeremy something. Anyway, he was about 5'3", playing a professional wrestler who was supposed to be 6'4". It didn't work for me.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
Wait, Pete, you're such a big WWE and wrestling person.
Yes.
Is there anyone on the cast now in WWE who could fulfill this role? Because those guys have acting backgrounds.
Yeah, I was just thinking that they could go down the WWE road.
Like Dave Bautista doesn't look like an offensive lineman.
He's shredded.
Yeah.
I know that's too big.
Right, like Big Show is too tall.
Right.
You got to be chubby to be an offensive lineman. You cannot be. Yeah.
You got to be thick.
Oh, Mark Henry.
Maybe it could be Mark Henry. He might have that kind of body.
Mark Henry could do it.
Is he an actor?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if he's done any movies.
Sadly, we lost Bam Bam Bigelow. He would have killed it as
he would
this.
have been good.
Or King Kong Bundy, who was in. Was King Kong Bundy in? He was in movies, right?
Oh, he was in Married with Children.
Was he in Stir Crazy? Was that King Kong Bundy?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think I think you nailed it, Maggie. We got to go pro wrestling, but you got to deliver a big dude.
And it can't be like John Cena or something. It has to be someone more of an offensive line body. Like who's got a Jason Kelce like body?
No, Otis doesn't have a Jason Kelce body, but Otis could be a lineman. How do you guys think about that one?
Sadly, we lost Bray Wyatt. I feel like could have done it.
He would have been good.
He would have been good, but he sadly passed away.
I know I'm going to think about 40 of them by the time.
By the way,
commercial break.
This is terrible. All the big guys we named we've lost.
Well, but not Mark Henry.
No, Mark Henry's still around.
I think that we found a winner. 855-212-4227.
Bubba Dudley, Hall of Famer, could have done it. Bubba Dudley.
Coming to a theater near you, a heartwarming tale of an offensive lineman turned male model. Just cast Kelce, whatever.
Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
Yeah, he was too short to play a Von Erich brother. So is Zac Efron. That was a major problem. It's a really entertaining movie.
Well, the worst part of that movie is the guy that played Ric Flair, because it's nowhere near Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's really hard. The point is, sounds silly, but the point is it's really hard to duplicate athletes in film. So I want to see Sacha Baron Cohen put on 100 pounds, method act, and let's go.
855-212-4227. Okay, lots more to do, including our continuous breakdown of the AFC South. Used to be one of those divisions no one really cared about. Now, AFC South is stacked. We continue next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
under the bright lights. EJ stood ready, aiming for new heights. But fate took a turn on that somber plight. Left us all speechless, nothing to say. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Once danced on the field, now a quiet rest. Each stride a memory, we thought you the best. The journey's paused, the spirit feels heavy. Oh, how we miss you, strong and steady. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold. Cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Healing whispers in the morning dew. We stand by you in highs and lows, waiting for the day you rise and glow. Hey, chase me, all it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Healing whispers in the morning dew. We stay.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. All right, we kind of need to put a bow on this AFC South. I got to tell you right now, Maggie, I'm claiming this is my favorite division. I just love everything about it. It's spicy. It's reinventing the wheel. You have no idea what's going to happen here. Like last year, I think both of us picked the Jaguars. No brainer. This year, everyone's picking the Texans. You have no idea what's going to happen. There's all these new players in this division. Like you got Anthony Richardson. Who the heck knows what's going to happen there? Will Levis, the Texans' dream team. To me, the only team that's not interesting is actually the Jaguars, who were the interesting team. Anything interesting about the Jaguars to you?
My prediction for the Jags, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to deliver this season. I do. I think last year he really was hurt for a lot of the year, and I think it really impacted the amount of turnovers, uncharacteristic for him. And I think he really tried to play through an injury that just got progressively worse and worse and worse. So if he's healthy, I know he just got paid. That extension hasn't kicked in yet, though. I think that Trevor Lawrence has a great season. I'm not ready to give up all my Trevor Lawrence, stock or what have you. I think he's going to be really good this year. I think he's going to be back in the conversation in terms of difference making and really amazing franchise quarterback. So that'd be my prediction for Jacksonville. So I think that's kind of interesting.
I don't see that. Who's he throwing to? I mean, it's like Evan Ingram or bust every time he drops back. This is like bottom 10 receiving core for sure. Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Brian Thomas Jr. If Brian Thomas Jr. is awesome automatically, the LSU rookie, then maybe it just doesn't feel like if I'm that team, I'm just giving the ball to Travis Etienne every time because that is not a good receiving core unless you think your guy Gabe Davis is like the real deal.
Well, I mean,
it's kind of weak.
Gabe Davis was kind of in and out in terms of the offensive plan in Buffalo, but again, Trevor Lawrence is not Josh Allen. They're not the same type of player. So I actually think that Lawrence is going to have a good season. And then my other prediction, and this is about the Colts, this is the one team I'm not really sure what to do with because if Anthony Richardson struggles, then you do have Joe Flacco sitting behind him. So obviously Flacco can win you games as he did with the Browns last year. But I wonder if there's a lot of Colts fans who are actually really disappointed by the offseason. You added nobody. Like, you went through the draft, and I guess you added Flacco, but he's not even a starter. You added 0 starting players to this roster in free agency.
Like, I don't understand, though. Like, what part of the team were you going to improve? Like, first of all, we know free agency is crazy overrated. You're getting guys who other teams gave up on. I feel like it was a good offseason. They brought back Pittman, right? So that's one.
They brought him back and paid him. They got A.D. Mitchell in the draft.
Yeah. Did they? They got Latu, right? So, yeah, they think they killed the draft. Like, that was a thing. Like, people walked away and gave the Colts an A. They got probably the best defensive player in the draft. And they got Quentin Nelson's coming back healthy. They have a great offensive line. They have a great running back, and they have a running quarterback. So it's not to me, is he bad? Is he going to stay healthy?
Well, has he learned how to slide, and can he actually get down? And then Latu obviously had the injury concerns, which is why he maybe slipped a little bit. He was the first defensive player taken in this draft. And then A.D. Mitchell, they immediately started asking questions, about him the moment he got in the door. Chris Ballard had to answer questions. So I think there's a little bit from the fan base that you didn't add anything from outside.
I feel like expectations are up on that team. I think everybody's kind of to me, like we see this every. I feel like people see the Jaguars as trending down. They had a bad offseason. They lost a lot, and they see the Colts trending up. I know they didn't add free agency, but like their young players are coming of age at the right time. We'll see. It's all it comes down to Anthony Richardson. Although that offensive line is elite.
I wonder if it really even comes down more to Jonathan Taylor. But yes, you're right. Obviously, it all starts with the QB. Peter Schwartz is here. He's got headlines for us. Hello.
I sure do. We're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Home run derby last night in Arlington. Your winner, Dodgers center fielder Teoscar Hernandez.
People maybe underestimate myself. And you can see it at the end when we was hitting all those homers. Everybody was cheering for him. But I'm here, and I'm as talented as all those guys over there. They might be younger, but the same talent.
It was a long, drawn-out home run derby. The ending was exciting. Royal shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. fell by 1 home run, 14-13, as his last drive fell just shy of the wall. Hernandez became the first Dodger to win home run derby.
Fantastic stuff. I actually had a question for you before you started this update that I should have led with.
Okay.
Did you hear us last segment talking about this new Hollywood movie that's been in the works about an offensive lineman who gets hurt and becomes a male model?
I did not hear that. No.
So it's a new thing that's happening. It's a new show out there,
Okay.
a new movie that's going to happen. Offensive lineman gets hurt and is going to be part of the brawny division, air quotes, for male as a male model. Like
Okay.
think of Jason Kelsey.
Right.
So they're in our chat now on youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. Mike in California says comedian Burt Kreischer could pull off this role, maybe a little bit. And then our own Zach Gell, Big Zoo, people who are on this program, Peter, who are maybe being, Zach is volunteering himself, Marash maybe. We have a lot of candidates right here.
I would read for the role.
There you go.
I would read,
Why
I
not?
never, it was never planned out a role an acting role in my life.
Well, hopefully I don't ask you to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Yeah, you don't want me to sing.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Yeah, that's a thing. Like Burt Kreischer, I'm looking up his height. He's listed at 6 feet. We could ask our next guest. I don't feel like he's 6 feet tall. You got to be really, you need to be big to play this role. Like, Peter definitely could.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it's Hollywood, so there's also tricks in the
but
trade.
There are, but it eventually, like, I don't know, you run into danger spot. Like, you can always tell. Something will look off because there'll be a scene
you
where,
have
like,
to sell it.
you have to sell it. Like, there's going to be, like, one camera angle they're going to miss, and you're going to realize that, like, the romantic lead is the exact same height as him. And you're like, wait, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
And even with Tom Cruise movies, like, they are very careful, and once in a while, they screwed up.
I always wonder, like, how much in the post-production goes into making Tom Cruise look taller than, what's he even listed as, Tom Cruise?
Oh, 5'7".
The internet's
He's
gonna lie
listed
to
at
me
probably
about
at 5'7". That's like the standard. If you ever guys, I don't know, you probably never met him, but there was some DirecTV event where Taylor Lautner was there.
Yes,
Do you
I
remember
have met him.
Taylor Lautner, right?
Yes.
Very short. I mean, he's 5'7", maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
But the movie Twilight that he starred in, I watched it. They filmed him like he was 6'4", towering over the female acting partner, and there was clearly a camera trick, and you couldn't. There's no way they could sell it the whole movie. At a certain point, you realize, oh, this kid is probably 5'7" at most.
There was another guy, though, who actually was kind of tall. The other Taylor. No, Kellen Lutz. I met him. He was also in Twilight. He actually was rather tall.
Yeah, Taylor Lautner, formerly Shark Boy, for all you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Maggie, are you worried at all at some point in the future being the shortest person in your house?
Oh, because my husband and my son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay with me because I was always the tallest girl in my class. So I was towering over people for a long time. I'm okay with it.
Well,
but by the way, your husband's not that much taller than you.
He's 6 feet.
Yeah.
Well, condolences to my wife, Cheryl, because she is now officially the shortest person in the house because our younger son, Jared, just zoomed right past
And
me.
how old is Jared?
14.
Only 14,
14.
and he's already taller.
Yeah, so
Did you guys do the calculation? Tell me, if parents, did you do this where you calculate your height and your wife's height and you combine it and you put obviously the sex of the child in, and then you can see how tall the kid's going to be?
We didn't do that, but
no, we
clearly
didn't do
they
that.
got my height.
Well, the one thing about, I mean, Peter, you know the thing with Maggie is, like, she might not be the tallest person, but she will always have the biggest feet in her
biggest
household.
feet, for sure.
So, like, she's used
my
to
boat shoes.
She's used to being,
not
unusually
beating
large
mine.
at one part of her body.
Well, I'm wondering if our next guest, like, I didn't think that my feet were big, but when I told the men on this show the size shoe I wore, they were alarmed.
Wow.
I wear a size 9.
We were alarmed. We wondered
wife
if we
said
had to get
8.5.
the doors expanded. If we had to get, like, special.
Yeah, I know.
I have a 14 wide.
That probably has to be hard to buy shoes that
It is
big.
ridiculously difficult. 14 wide.
Even like with Amazon and you can order anything under the sun. I feel like a 14
Yeah.
wide is still hard to come by.
It's not easy.
You're getting,
My
like, Shaq
wife
shoes.
scours the internet every day. Even though I have like 3 pairs of sneakers, she'll be, if I find something, I have to get it because then you can just put it away.
I mean, if you tried asking like some of the NBA players in this town where they get their shoes, you
They
should be
probably,
shopping the same
I would
one.
think a lot of those guys get them custom made. They must have them custom made with their shoe deals.
Do you remember at SI when Perloff and I
Yeah.
both worked there? They had this big showcase full of stuff, and it was Shaquille O'Neal's shoe was
Yes.
in there, and
Absolutely.
people were mesmerized by it.
By the way, and there are many reasons, but I'm glad that you guys did not have a child together, Peter
The
Schwartz and
feet would
Maggie,
be
because
out of the- off
it'd be
the
like a dinosaur coming out. Like, I don't even know, Maggie. Like, could you even physically had that baby? The feet would be so.
The
so
feet
big.
would arrive like 5 seconds before the rest of the person.
So when my wife was pregnant with Bradley, he was during the initial sonograms and all the testing and everything, they were predicting that he was going to be like a 12-pound baby. Like,
Imagine getting that news.
Ridiculous,
Imagine
right?
getting that news. There's nothing you can do about it as the woman.
It's not like, well, look at the genes I have to give him, right? So, this was like a concern. Like, the doctor's like, oh, you just be prepared and everything. So
do what?
So
cry.
We go to the hospital for my wife to deliver, and there is a nurse that worked in the like preemie department, like she was involved. She said, I had to switch for a day because I heard we were expecting this baby that was going to be like 12 pounds. And it turns
Call
out,
the Guinness Book.
It turns out, he came out at 9'8". So he came out under.
Even I was 9 pounds.
Yeah, he came out.
It was supposed to be 12?
He was
I can't imagine
Expect it to be 12.
9-8 doesn't sound like a joy either, Maggie. You can speak to that.
I
And
felt
you were
nothing.
9, so you
was
came out
9
9
baby.
pounds. Oh my God. Your wife is like, what? Then 4 of the pounds were in your feet.
Man, I just can't imagine getting that news as your wife. It's like, well, I've sit you down. It's going to be a 12-pound baby.
Yeah.
I'll take drugs, give my husband drugs, give that nurse drugs. Everybody's on drugs. That's what I would say.
Didn't quite
I'd be
make
like,
it to that.
Prep the OR.
Yeah. But this
no way
nurse,
I'm doing that
nurse
natural.
asked to be transferred for a day because she wanted to be there to see this like ridiculously large baby get born, and it was like a mild disappointment to her that
She comes in, there's a camera crew. It's like, wait, what the
Camera-
hell's going on here? I didn't
So.
sign off on that.
12 pounds he was supposed to be.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Anything else?
I mean, the same stuff as the last 3 hours. I mean, I can
I'll
give you
do
Aaron
audience
Judge. You want
all
to
the
hear
time.
Aaron Judge?
Love to hear Aaron.
I think we
No?
should just break.
Okay, we're
What's
going to
that?
take a break.
Okay,
Aaron
that's
Judge.
fine. It was nice working with you guys today.
He's never said anything interesting.
Singing and dancing, and
And we're going to see you on Thursday.
you are, but not in an update role. I'm going to actually be in a PR role on Thursday.
Peter is responsible for a guest of ours coming on Thursday. Generally, we don't tease these things 2 days out. but
Right.
We might as well do it.
Jeff Fisher,
Yep.
the former NFL head coach, is now the commissioner of the Arena Football League.
Yeah.
And they are going to play Arena Bowl 33 Friday at the American Dream Mall in New Jersey.
Wow, I might need to grow out my mustache by Thursday.
What can you do in the next 48 hours? How
Not
much
Jeff.
growth?
I mean, Jeff Fisher. That thing takes years of perfecting.
The first thing I asked Peter was like, does he still have the mustache?
I believe he does. I haven't seen him in person. I had him on my radio show a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, all the pictures I've seen of him this year looks like he has the mustache. I can confirm it for you if you want, or you want to be surprised on Thursday.
Might as well be surprised.
Okay.
Peter, thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Appreciate that and all of your effort. All right, our friend is here. She's blowing up. She was big when she came to visit us a couple months ago, Perloff, but now it's gone to a different stratosphere. Jiaying Summers, the comedian who is fresh off her appearance in The Shop, chit-chatting with LeBron James. Hello. Jiaying's going to join us next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
By the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the armed forces, DoD veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Big Zoo is determining the Navy Federal Defensive Player of the Week.
Oh, I'm all about defense. You know that, Maggie. So I went straight across the pond to the Euros 2024, where the Spanish national team, in order to hold on to the 2-1 win late in the game, got a magical save from Unai Simon in goal, and then on the deflection header, Danny Olmo comes through and gets it off the goal line. Spain holds on, gets the victory. They are your champions of Europe for the next 4 years, and they are also your defensive play of the week.
Zoo, that was delivered beautifully. I loved everything about how you did that and what you did. No one told you we're supposed to guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would have got it anyway. It's good.
We're supposed to guess who the defensive player of the week is, but that was beautiful, and thank you for putting it all together. Okay, let's turn our attention to our guest in studio, and that is Jiaying Summers, who is back with us. Yes. You know what? Thank you so much for coming back in to see us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you are a comedian extraordinaire. You own your own comedy club. The last time you saw us, you were here in New York doing the Apollo Theater. Tonight, you're back at Sony Hall, where tickets are still available if you're in the area. And check out your tour dates, Washington, D.C. We are on there as well, and all over the country. You're fresh off an appearance on The Shop. This is LeBron James's show with Maverick Carter and LeBron. You had Andre 3000 from Outkast. We're on in Atlanta. I mean, he's basically a god there. Describe this experience.
Oh my God, I am cool forever. I block all my friends. I don't talk to anybody anymore. I am really, I'm just so cocky. I'm kidding. I brought my Tiger Bomb in my purse when I went to the shop to tape because I know I'm gonna talk to LeBron. So my neck, hurts. So
From
the Tiger
looking
Bomb.
up.
Yeah, I just keep rubbing it, looking at him. So fabulous, so funny. I had so much fun on the shop. Such a dynamic conversation.
Yeah.
I told Andre I love his song Hey Ya because that's also my cousin's name. He loves it.
Wait, I know you don't get nervous. You play huge crowds. Like, were you nervous for LeBron?
Yeah. Well, I walked in and I saw him. He's roaming around like like a tiger. He just you can feel his presence, and he just walked by, and he just like give me a nut. I just look at him like.
Yeah, frozen.
I was not nervous. I just frozen. I couldn't believe he's there. But I know he's there, but I couldn't believe the first time he looks so young.
Oh, nice.
Well,
he so
plays
young
like he's still young.
I know. I think he's super, super healthy. His body is like a machine. Like you can see his energy, everything. He's so young. I can still feel like he's like in his 20s.
Maybe a little different than the comedians that you happen to encounter when you're out at nightclubs and stuff.
LeBron is pure sunshine. The comedians like little vampires. Like LeBron's like.
Yeah, I feel like comedians are all like secretly sort of depressed and like, behind the scenes, but making jokes out of stuff. And LeBron's just sort of out there. Jiaying Summers is here again, Sony Hall tonight. You can find her there, and she was just on the shop. I'm curious about this because I don't know how sensitive LeBron is. A lot of your conversation in the shop was, I just want comedians to be able to do their thing. You guys should be able to say anything. You're the commentary on society. But were there any prerequisites of jokes you could not make about LeBron?
Oh, LeBron don't care. Okay. He loves the real dogs. He likes Bill Burr, Chappelle. He doesn't like boundaries. He thinks comedy should be. He's like, she go there. He said, I go there. Like he wants people to go there. He just think. I mean, the boundary of comedy is funny. As long as you're funny, there's no boundaries. When it becomes unfunny, there's a boundary.
Right.
Because we need to heal. Because we laugh at things because we want to heal. We have to. Just, eventually we have to laugh at something.
I always love
traumatic.
How you say you're not cancelable.
I can't. They really can't cancel me though. Like because they can't really return to China. They don't want me either. So it's like I'm here, and I love your lobby. It's amazing. We got those beautiful ladies. They have green juice there. Like, do you want green juice? It detox. I'm like, yes, I do. My mom just called. I need detoxing. Oh my God, she talks.
Your mom's a big part of your comedy and your relationship growing up, and now to this day, not even growing up. Just
oh my God, now she's learning English. She takes English class in the morning. Now she can abuse me in 2 languages.
Wait, does green juice work? Can I just ask? I know you're a Californian.
It tastes awful. It tastes like mistakes you made.
Which is good.
And you drink them to pay for the mistakes you make. So hopefully you can be younger.
Wait, can I ask LeBron? So you grew up in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Or you
I went to
high school?
College.
Or you went to college. So are you a legit basketball fan yet? Around LeBron?
I had no idea. I had no idea how big the basketball is in Kentucky. I luckily was working at the tutor lab. I tutor homework. Sometimes we have the basketball player coming in, and I would tutor them. Don't know who they are, and then telling my friends, like the girlfriend, because I was very ugly. Like I have my glasses, I have my acne, and I'm slouching. My boobs did not come in yet. I don't know why I didn't have my boobs when I was 17, but something happens. I think it was just like I don't wear push-up bra. I was like slouching, so I was not attractive. But when I told people I was tutoring like the basketball team guys, like all the girls love me. They become my best friends. They start to like wax my unibrow, and they start taking me out to shopping, and they start to like, hey, don't slouch. They become my friends because me tutoring those guys because they want their number.
They were trying to help you along. John Wall was one of those guys.
Yeah, he was.
There.
Yeah, he's fabulous. He just always like you knew he's gonna become great. It's right away.
Jiaying Summers is here with us. Sony Hall tonight, and then on to DC after that. There's some projects you have in the works that we can't talk about yet, but we're hoping you're going to come back and do some press with us back then too. So when you came in last time, it was right before your Apollo Theater show. This was early on, I believe, in the football season, and this was like when Travis, Kelce, and Taylor were just getting going, but we weren't sure like how real the whole thing was. Like, you're buying it now, right?
I think. Like he is the man for her. He's a real man, no more theater boys. No, I think
wait. Do women really want those tall, hunky types, or they want the skinny, intellectual types with glasses?
No,
like myself.
I think Woody Allen is not my type.
Thank God.
Hey. I mean,
if he can put in a movie, yeah, but he's no.
What has Travis Kelce got that the average nerd like me doesn't have?
I think she just been with all of those theater boys, and they don't commit. They're like, they want to, they want more attention. They want this, they want that. Like they are all singers, and she outshine them, and it just it all ended up becoming a competition. But with him, with Travis, It's not a competition. You know, he shine in different field. And also, they both are stars, but she's bigger, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. Jiaying Summers is here. Okay, you always talk a lot about, the culture shock, definitely coming from China to here, but pop culture as well. You live in LA. Like, what's on your mind lately?
I just feel like the Gen Z, the young, like the hot, what do you call it? Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Those pretty boys, they make me angry because I just feel like they are prettier than women now, and it's not okay for, they're just so beautiful. Everything that's going on, people are just being super, super healthy, and it's judgment. Like you can also, if you mispronounce pronouns, you get like people hate you for it. I'm like, if you cannot pronounce my name, I cannot pronounce your pronoun.
Here's a question for you about men now some men being even prettier than women. Are we getting to a point with Ozempic and Botox and all the things you can do where there's no average, you don't have to be average looking anymore. Like,
yeah.
I think that average looking is going the way of the dinosaur. You can do anything you want with your face.
Yeah, I feel like they should have a quote. It's like, I am not ugly, I'm just poor. That's it. Seriously, money can make you look good. Yeah.
So I have a 13-year-old daughter who thinks Timothy Chalamet is like a god. She thinks he's the best. Yeah, and I actually said to her, I'm like,
he's very talented. Unfortunately, he can act. He's actually talented, so talented, but his face kills me. I just want to smash him.
No, but that's hunky to her. Like, I'm like, what about like Brad Pitt and like.
I love Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt all the way. He's dating somebody.
I saw her.
I can tutor homework for the kids, Brad. You should take me.
He's not too old?
I don't care. He can be old, like as the ugly baby of Benjamin Button. I'm here. I'll breastfeed that old baby face. I don't care. Brad Pitt is my man. I love Brad Pitt. I'm here, Brad.
So of all the people now, I mean, you're getting to meet everybody, of course, on the comedy scene, and now meeting you're the person that people want to meet. Andre 3000 from Outkast saying that he's a big fan of yours. I mean, it's got to be
Andre.
a bit of a crazy moment. Some of the other big celebrities that you've met since you last were with us. Like who's been better than you could have hoped for? Maybe someone who's been not worth all the fuss.
Let me think. I think Bert Kreischer was so cute. When I met him at Netflix, a joke. It was like a party. He was standing like this. His eyes are just like
wide. Yeah. He doesn't blink.
No. and I remember I was just gonna swing by to say hi, and I was walking by. He's like, "Hi!" He just gave me a hug before I said hi, and because I was on Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina P. So that's Tom is his partner for Two Bears a Cave. So just like so sweet and lovely, like he knows who I am, and he's just so sweet. But there's other people, I don't want to name names, and I walk to them. They look at me like I am diseased. I'm like, yes, I did give you COVID, but you don't have to look at me like this. And I'm like, what? It's so extra, It's all the people who are not really talented and really, really talented and successful. Like they kind of got there because they're lucky. They hate somebody who has talent.
Is it insecurity, right?
Yes, they really hate you. Like I can see they look at me like I'm diseased.
Don't you think this is a badge of honor, though? If people don't hate you, that means that you're not making an impact. You are making an impact.
I love that.
Out come the haters.
Yeah, I love when Andre 3000 said, he's like, let them hate because that's the haters feel. That's free energy. That's let them he's like, I love that when people doubt me because I'll show them that what they are, what they don't know. I think
love
that's
it.
Haters feel. That's what he calls it. Haters feel. What a poet.
He's amazing.
Andre
you
is
are
so
too.
amazing.
Jiaying Summers here in New York, Sony Hall tonight. If you want to go to the show, there are tickets still available. Then
SummersComedy.com.
And then
that's the website, yeah.
SummersComing.com.
Summer's not coming. SummersComedy.com. I wish I'm coming, but I don't have a mail.
I was about to say.
Comedy.
I actually went to that site by accident.
SummersComedy.com.
They're actually going to confiscate my laptop because you're even suggesting that. SummersComedy.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Congratulations
having
on everything. Thank you to Big Zoo. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Peter Schwartz, to Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos, the coffee drinkers. You all know who you are. We'll be back here tomorrow. Later.